I will just put it on YouTube.
Yeah, okay, so we're live. So Chris, Shak is in the house. So yeah, and then yeah, you can take your time, and you could let's see. So Rotary Matrix is in the chat. So we'll see how many people we get on here. It'll be the first live stream on MES Truth and so on. Okay, so
Yep.
you're hidden. I just want to see if I could pop out the chat. Whoops.
Yep.
I hate this thing. It just popped out. Okay. This is on pop out chat. Okay, so now I can close this. Oh, that doesn't work. So you can't, Twitter can't even pop out chat. I'm gonna close that. Okay. So we are, yeah, good to go. Yeah, are you gonna show your face or no? Up to you. Okay, so Chris is disappeared.
Yep. Yeah. Is it working?
I can hear you. I just can't see you. And do you want to be?
Is it not letting me on?
No, you're on it. Just not showing your face. It's just not. No, you. I can hear myself speaking.
I don't know how it's doing that. Wait. Just wait a second. I don't know why it's doing that. Wait.
Okay. Rotary Matrix says can hear me, and I'm gonna just check if it's able to hear you.
I'm not sure why it's not coming up on the
Yes, Chris is
video screen.
I can hear myself speaking.
I don't know how it's doing.
In the chat, pop out chat, and I'm not sure if it's able to hear you. Okay. Yeah, I think what I'll do next time is
unknown user on the
yeah, I don't know what's happening. So should we get it? Okay, guess is okay. They can hear us. Let me know just what's happening. It says poor connection. Why is it saying poor? Open widgets. What does this mean? Currently are not being sent.
I can see you, no problem. I can hear you, no problem.
Yeah, I just can't see you. It says stream status.
I'll see if I can come out and come back in. I'll see if I'll leave and I'll come back in.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you could try that, and then we'll see what happens. What I should do is okay, so I'm actually gonna stop recording this one. Okay, I'm not gonna record. Okay, so I'll record once it's live. Once everything's fixed, so that when I upload it again, it's gonna skip out a bunch of the recording stuff. That's actually a good idea. So anyways, I don't know why it's saying poor quality. Like, what's happening? Maybe it's because I'm doing the second channel. They're doing less setup. There's no downscaling. Nothing should be the issue. All right, so I'm just wondering what's up with on the guest side. It might be Teams, it might be YouTube, because YouTube they prioritize people with a bigger following. So, but again, I'm trying to like brand MES more on the science side, and then MES Truth more on the. If it leans more on the conspiracy side, I'll put on MES Truth. It's just easier for me and so on. All right. So it's not recording this one, so when I upload, it will not be set up. But anyways, it's gonna be a pretty epic setup here. Here is the Chris Shak's discussion outline. So introduction, initial thoughts about 9/11 psychology and overall problem, why this date and timeline for discussion pre and post 9/11 coincide, date and time of 9/11 Museum Memorial, May 15th, May 21, 2014. Alex Jones should be at Alex JNS. Nope. Alex J owns. All right, there it is. Yeah, so I'm just waiting for the guest to log in again. Yes, initially, yeah, and Teams. I don't know why Teams is just you can't change the username like how it looks like. It just I don't understand why don't they just change it? Let's have a right click button, change the name. Like why do they have to make it so you can't change it? Meeting options. Okay. It's like I don't understand why they do this. They require everyone digital IDs or some nonsense. Show participants. Okay. Oh, I think as he's logged in elsewhere, I'm gonna move it over here. Why does it do that? Why does Max always open giant? I'm gonna actually all right. So anyways, while we're there, I'll tell you what some updates. So what I started doing now, guys, is I started posting my actual so when I post on Telegram a lot, what I started doing now is I'm gonna start posting the good. Oh, there it is. He's back on. Yeah, I started posting on the Hive blockchain the other setups. Okay, so all right, Chris, pin. Yeah, so it's still. Oh, there you are. Okay, you can see you. I can see you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Just
Oh, I can hear.
Yeah,
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's great. I can hear you and see you. Okay, this is great
Just-
stuff. And it
just-
says C Shak 4 guest.
Okay.
All right, epic stuff.
Just a second. I've got no. That's it. I've got your flowing screen here. Okay.
No, okay, that's cool. Okay, so everything's running there. I just don't know why this says poor stream quality. It should be fine. I just want to check one thing because it says poor, but it's YouTube. It's whatever.
Maybe just my laptop. Yeah. It's not a great. It's a brand new laptop, an HP laptop, but it's maybe not the best laptop. The signal's maybe not the best, but.
Okay, but I can hear it. It's a bit choppy, but I don't know. Maybe just the internet connection or something. I just want to see what's happening here. They prioritize people with Okay, it should be fine. Anyways, so I'll start recording. Oh, don't forget to record stream. Okay, so I'm gonna start recording now. Okay, recording. Okay, thanks for a reminder. Okay, so we're recording now. We fixed it up. So what I started doing now is which is a good idea, is basically once all the troubleshooting is done, then I start recording. All right, so it's recording, but you are live. And yeah, so we are live on here, and there is the link to the notes. And yeah, so Chris Shak is on the live stream. So MES live stream 132. Chris Shak discusses 9/11 predictive and post-predictive programming, and this is the first live stream on my second MES Truth channel. So again, like as I've been telling others, if a topic leans more towards the conspiracy, I'll post it on MES Truth. If it leans more towards the science stuff, I'll move it over to the MES. So, and this one is, yeah, predictive programming is a bit more on the conspiracy side. So that's going to be pretty epic stuff. But yeah, so Roddy Matrix says, hello, Chris. I'm going to read this, and then we can basically ask about you and so on. So, yeah, Chris Shak joins the show to go over his, what should be his, this, over this should be his, yeah, this is, yeah, forget that typo. Yeah, so over his extensive research into many eerie coincidences pre and post 9/11, which suggest the use of predictive programming to psychologically prime the population for what was to take place on 9/11, and then post-predictive programming to psychologically reinforce the government-approved narrative about 9/11, but also kind of trickle down the possible tech that was, or the tech that was used, or the possible methods of it, just because. So what I wanted to include in the thumbnail right here. So this thumbnail, you have the Simpsons 9/11. You have this. This is from the Pink Panther movie. Have you seen that clip? This one, the Pink Panther, with the it like literally turns a United Nations tower into like just disappears it. And then this is.
No.
Have you seen this one or no? I put in the trailer, and the.
I've not seen that one.
Okay, yeah. So in the trailer, when I uploaded it.
I've not seen it.
Yeah, and that was 1970.
I missed that. I just that's good.
Yeah, and then this is a book. This is a book from like Latin America or something. I forgot what year, but it was. And then look at that. They have like this weird orange thing, and have people jumping out of the Twin Towers. You have the tippy top on there, and then now you have the memorial lights. Like literally, that's a memorial lights.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do want to play this. So 1976 is when that was out, and I'll play this trailer right here, and just so we can get caught up, and then we can discuss about you and so on.
I've done everything you.
So Pink Panther Strikes Again, 1976, but a few background info on it is YouTube doesn't link to Telegram anymore. I'm gonna go Pink Panther right here, just to give you some interesting setup here. So it was in 1976, the movie. And WTC-1 was opened on December 15th, 1970. And then the WTC complex was finished construction on 1975. And then Building 7 was constructed from 1984 to 1987. But basically, besides Building 7, like whole complex. And then Pink Panther was released on December 15th, 1976. So at the 1 year anniversary of the construction of WTC 1, when it was opened. And yeah, so actually no, yeah, WTC 1 was opened December. No, but when the whole complex was done, was in 1975. Anyways, I just put interesting things. So December 15th, and I'll play this right here. So here's the full trailer, and I put it together with the memorial lights.
To us. Not yet.
Can you hear this? Can you hear this audio?
The UN building vanishes. Then you will have done everything I asked. What do you suppose they will call the crater, huh? The Dreyfus Ditch.
There should be no crater.
No crater? But I want a crater. I want wreckage, twisted metal, something the world will not forget.
They will not forget today.
They won't? Wonderful. I have to tinkle again. Don't do anything till I get back.
Too late. The countdown started. 1 minute.
Seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition!
And now I have the memorial lights. Next clip.
Two powerful beams of light cut through the darkness over Manhattan Thursday as the 9/11 Memorial and Museum conducted a test of its annual Tribute in Light. 88 large spotlights arranged in the shape of the Twin Towers illuminated from the roof of the Battery parking garage just blocks from Ground Zero. It's a rehearsal for the heartfelt display that will shine bright next Wednesday, marking 23 years since that solemn day in 2001. One by one, each switch was flipped, sending beams of light piercing into the night sky. The glow of beams offering a somber yet striking tribute that has become a tradition for New Yorkers. Since its first appearance 6 months after the 9/11 attacks, the lights have served as a symbol of remembrance of the nearly 3,000 lives lost in the tragedy and those who have died since due to related illnesses. The beams so powerful they can be seen from up to 60 miles away under clear skies. The installation is made possible by Con Edison.
Helping people who never were here for 9/11 understand and remember not only what we lost on 9/11, but how we came together as a city, as a community, as a country to respond and rebuild afterwards.
All right, yeah, so it's epic stuff. And one thing I want to make a note is, so the guy that was designing that, so you know how like 9/11, it's like involved Tesla, Tesla technology, just for a brief, but and apparently Edison pretty much like monetized Tesla stuff or something like that. But anyway, so the guy's name is Con Edison, the guy who put the lights up. So that's and is Matthew. Okay? Yeah. That's quite a interesting setup there. All right, so that's that, and yeah, so I added a bunch of notes there, and I wanted to see, yeah, so you want to introduce yourself first, just to let the audience know who you are and so on, yeah, so, and here's your outline, yeah.
Yeah, I've got the username, username Shak4, so you're aware of me, and a few others are aware. So I live in Scotland, the capital, Edinburgh, and I just sort of have followed this over the last sort of 20 years or so. And, you know, as anyone who's looked into it, you become troubled quite quickly. And I attended a few of the talks by Andrew Johnson and Richard Hall in the last sort of 15 years. I've met both of them, and they basically made it clear what happened. And I've bought Andrew Johnson's books. I've followed the work of Richard Hall. It's really been those two guys, and it's clear that the work of Dr. Judy Wood is the definitive work, and that's the end of it. And I think we all need to move on from this. We need to move on to a better scenario where we can get to the truth and then actually get to who it was, because that's the next sort of huge huge question. But just to go back further, in around about sort of 2006, I attended a university at Edinburgh, a university called Heriot Watt, but I was only there for about 6 months, and it was basically just a sort of, it was a sort of normal, moderate degree in town planning. I had a sort of interest in planning and buildings, and basically at the same time I was becoming aware about 9/11 and other stuff that was going on, and I basically just became disillusioned with the whole education system. And after that, I then worked for a family member. I worked for my uncle. I did a few different jobs. At the moment, I'm sort of a bit of a tradesman, doing some joinery and plastering and painting, wallpapering, and also plan to. I've been researching some sort of material to maybe try to write a book. So I've been quite busy, but certainly in terms of 9/11 and what's been going on in the last quarter century now, this is the biggest event, of them all. And I've basically just been a sort of average person trying to do more, and it seems that most people don't do much at all. And then just to end on that, I came across your presentations probably about a year and a half ago. I think you were interviewing a few different people, Andrew Johnson, Mark Conlon, and I was impressed with the sort of setup that you had, where you had the multi-screen and the technology, and it was quite entertaining as well as informing. So yeah, I've been following what you've been doing, and the recent videos with Judy Wood. So I've got quite a sort of knowledgeable view of everything that's been going on, but I've not really been doing any research. There's a little bit here and there, but it's mainly been the work of Andrew Johnson and Richard Hall and Judy Wood.
That was great. Yeah, thanks for that introduction there. Yeah, especially because I woke up to all this like literally from Richard Hall's. So like I was doing Pizzagate videos like in 2016, like just on the trafficking and all that stuff, and then there was a Madeleine McCann topic and so on. So then I wanted to research more on that, and then I came across Richard Hall's documentary on Madeleine McCann. So then I saw it. I'm like, this is like, yeah. So I'm like, this is amazing research. Like nobody's I haven't seen anybody in alt media do like research like how Richard Hall did, where it's like systematic. It's just fact based. There's no like emotions. There's no like clickbait.
Yeah.
And it's like hours and hours of the Madeleine McCann one. And then I'm like, all right, so let's go back from the beginning and watch all of his videos. So I went from the beginning and started watching. And I think you're frozen. Oh, you're back. Yeah. So I started watching all of them, and then one of them was on UFOs, and then Richard Hall, he's like, we know that like advanced UFO anti-gravity free energy technology exists, as demonstrated in Dr. Judy Wood's book.
Yeah.
Where towers go. And he just flashed the book, the front and back cover, and it was so he was with Andrew Johnson when he that show when he was doing that. And then I'm like, what do you mean where the towers went? I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So then right from there it pretty much snowballed. Yes. Yeah. So I'm like, what the? So I just saw it. I'm like, okay, it's done. So I actually posted.
I would just make a point about Rich.
Yeah, you are a bit cutting off. I'm not sure what's going on.
I would just add about what.
Yeah, but your internet connection, are you using Wi-Fi or are you connecting to?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it stops and goes, stops and goes. I'm not sure what's happening. Maybe if I'll stop sharing for a quick second. Maybe it's easier on your computer.
Just try. Wait.
Okay, I stopped
Maybe
sharing.
YouTube open as well. I'll just.
Okay, so I stopped sharing. So maybe maybe it's easier on you now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. That's much better. Yeah. Much better.
Yeah, so it might be your internet connection. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, but from mine, that's a lot better.
Okay, yeah, so it might be just your internet connection because mine is I have a super fast computer and like super fast internet, so it's like
Right.
and yeah, I use the PC like computer, so I don't use my laptop. Yeah, and
Right.
yeah, so
I would just add about Richard Hall. Yeah, just to say about Richard Hall. But what impressed me as well was the breadth of coverage that Richard Hall does.
yeah.
You know, that was something that I hadn't seen before.
It is, and it was applying like a systematic like engineering method to journalism. Like it's not just a this person said this. Let's put it out as if that's like fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he actually goes on site and so on. So that's quite amazing. But yeah, so that's yeah. Thanks for that thing. And I was gonna ask, how long have you?
And of course, he did this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how long have you known about like 9/11 and so on? Like, when did you what you said 20 years you were in on this, or?
Yeah. Probably 2007, 2008.
Oh wow.
That was the initial, and then everything after just snowballed, and it didn't take long but I couldn't put together what the kind of overall missing piece was, and of course that was the energy. And then it just made sense. And I can remember at the time all the dust and the
Okay, it's still
which was a
glitching out.
huge anomaly.
Yeah, but your stuff your videos, it's still glitching out. Like I hear, and then all of a sudden there's like a 3 seconds of delay and glitched. So I'm just not sure. Are you using Wi-Fi by any chance, or are you connecting directly like internet the direct line? Now it's frozen.
I'm not. It might.
Yeah, what it could do is maybe we could try it without
I
video sharing if you think it's
can
easier.
see you.
Yeah, because we could try it without. We could probably turn the video off if you want to try that. Might be easier. Let's see. With my profile photo is Hercules.
Yeah, try it. If it improves it, yeah.
Yeah, if it improves, it's better. Even if we don't see each other, just see. Yeah, you could turn. Well, you could turn. Yeah, you could turn yours.
Okay.
Basically the camera off. There's a button on the top. It says camera. You just click it. It will just hide it.
Right.
Is it turned off? Yeah. Yeah, I just don't understand. Like, okay, okay. So now I get. Yeah, we can't see each other, but it might be easier. It just might be easier. All right. So I was gonna ask. Let's see. It's still a bit cutting. Okay. I'll just move this over now so we don't just see our faces. Okay. Yeah, so we can have more room now. And how's that? Can you here just try to speak something, and then we'll see how it goes on.
I can hear you clearly. Yeah.
Is it easier than before?
I can hear you clearly. Yeah.
Is it better than before, or the same?
Yeah, it seems to be.
Okay, yeah. I'll let you know if it glitches out on yours as well. Okay, so it should be fine. I think it's just it might be just your internet connection. Like, so were you using a Wi-Fi or like a direct line, like a direct Ethernet? Do you know, on your computer?
No, it's to my phone. It's to the Wi-Fi. It's onto the phone.
Oh, you're using your phone internet?
The connection's going onto my phone. Yes. Yeah.
Oh no, so because I thought you were on your laptop.
Like the SIM card in the phone.
Oh no, so you're using.
I'm on the laptop, but the.
Oh, you're using a hotspot. So you're using the. Okay, so that's why.
Yeah.
So you're using your hotspot on there. And that's because you want to
Yeah.
share stuff on there. Just because it is so that's why it's super slow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know what the reason was. Okay, so that's the why. So you use a hotspot.
Well, it's just yeah.
Yeah, so that's another thing is
Okay.
if you want, you could connect just directly with your phone, and then if you need to share anything, you just send it email to me, and I will show it to the audience so that it's gonna be a bit slow on your end.
Yeah.
Do you want to do that or no?
Yeah.
So you can what you want to do is
It's just this lap. Yeah.
yeah, just because you're using a hotspot,
Yeah.
like the internet connection to go live, it's very, very like slow. So even now you're cutting off. So if you want, you can like basically connect with your phone to that link, and then that's it. Yeah, and then basically anything you need, you
It's
can.
just that yeah. I hear what you're saying, but it's just that the laptop's actually the better technology than my phone. The phone I've got is like an old phone. So this this is probably just the best way.
Okay. So that changes it. Yeah. Okay. So that's even
Yeah.
So basically, we need to get you a new phone or a new laptop.
Yeah. Just for this. Yeah. Okay.
Or internet, or just all you need is Wi-Fi. Yeah, you just need Wi-Fi or Ethernet cable. Yeah. So that's in case if you want to pay for that. But yeah. So we can go with what we can. So that's your timeline, and then we can go through your discussion timeline, and I'll let you know if there's any glitching or anything. But I think it seems a bit better now.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. So just also, yeah, we can also say that this particular month is a sort of key month because, of course, in 2014, this museum opened and this memorial opened, and it was around about May, the middle of May. I think actually it was in 2011 that the pools were opened or almost opened, and there was visitors to that site. But it wasn't until 2014 that there was the museum being opened to families and then the general public.
Okay.
So that's why this May month's been chosen.
Yeah, that is why we were deciding on what day, and then so May 15th was yesterday, so today's close enough. So now I'm opening it up on this, but you won't be able to see it, but the audience can. This is just a Wikipedia National Memorial Museum. Just want to see what day was it? May.
Yeah.
May 15th. Yeah, so museum opened May 15th. That dedication, and then to the public it was opened on the so it was open for the victims' families on May 15th, and then to the public on May 21st. So that's why there's two dates. Okay, that is interesting.
Yes.
And there's another thing that Barry Satoro or Barack Obama, June 14th. There's Barack. How do you spell Barack? I'm gonna go quickly. Pete, and then Trump. For instance, Obama. Yeah. So apparently Obama. He signed. Oh no, this was on. Yeah, so apparently, like, it was on Trump's birthday is when he signed I think with the beams. Obama signed 9/11 June 14th. I just want to see what this was again. I forgot what it was. On June 14th. Yeah, so message signed by Barack Obama on a beam at One World Trade Center. It was on 2012. So he signed the beam on Trump's birthday. So June 14th. That's just I'll I guess email you that right now, actually, just so you can have that. But yeah,
and also apparently in the year 2011, in the month of December, there had been already 1 million apparent visitors to the pools. So already within a few months, this post programming was going on. 1 million visitors.
On which
and then later
on 2011, I just sent an email there like I'm gonna just include this in the notes. Yeah, just that's one thing we definitely need to fix for a future time is internet connection, just because so you could see everything I'm doing. Barack Obama.
I can see it. I can't actually see what you're doing because I've got the YouTube live as well.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, so I'll just put this very.
I can see right now. I can see you typing it. Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
so Barack Obama, June 14th, 2011, signed WTC Beam on Trump's birthday. And you can see a video of him signing it, but it's just bizarre. It's regarding Trump's birthday. I thought I put that in here. Okay,
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, because I had a giant. I have a giant video I made like 2 or 3 hours long on strange coincidences involving Trump's birthday, and I cannot believe I didn't put that. I thought I put it in. Okay, so I didn't put that in, but there's a lot of weird. Like as much as there's 9/11, there's a lot of Trump June 14th coincidences. Like there's literally, yeah, and he signed the in the One World Trade Center. Like he was born on a red blood moon and so on, and it's like the military's birthday. I guess when it was. The military's military. Military. So I think I have a playlist. Oh yeah, I have it all at the bottom here. I'll just show you. I made screenshots, and then you can see all the coincidences. So here's born on a blood moon. The movie Friday the 13th, that serial killer movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that movie.
Yeah.
He was apparently born on June 13th on Friday 1946, except the actual calendar, right? The ones we use, there is no June 13th Friday. It's a 14th. So Friday the 13th is actually Trump. All right. So and even the first movie, the cover was blood. There's the blood. There's a moon, and Trump's born on a blood moon. And then Aleister Crowley, that Satanist guy. So and do you know Jack Parsons and the Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard? So they were trying to build.
I have read about him.
Yeah. So they're trying to produce a moon child, like pretty much like the Antichrist or whatnot. And then Aleister Crowley wrote them a letter on June 14th, 1946, pretty much discussing them making a moon child. That was pretty interesting. So U.S. Flag Day, U.S. Army Day, and Trump's birthday are all June 14th. And then June 14th, 1946, this was the first U.S. proposal for a world government. And then Roswell. So Roswell, it was actually found on June, like the alleged aliens sighting, or like alleged alien wreckage, was actually on June 14th, 1947. So the first year anniversary of Trump's birthday. And then what's another one? Yeah. Basically, they also they closed off. What I mean is they actually closed off Trump's. What's it called? I mean the Roswell. They closed it off for like 70 years until Trump's first, I think his first year in office. That's when they opened it up, and at the same time he opened up the Space Force. So it's a lot of weird stuff going on with Trump and so on. But yeah, that's for another day. I'll add the Barry Santoro part here. This message signed. There should be a video here. I just wanted, you could see, at least you could see it, and then we'll go back to the thing, and you can see WC Beam, and there's Obama visits World Trade Center site. And he signs it on the 14th. It says June 15th. It's actually the 14th, not the 15th. I don't know what that. And there's One World sign, and he's signing with the mayor. Yeah. So there's Barry Santoro.
Well, I myself have never been to the area, the Ground Zero site. Have you been there yourself, or?
No. That's something I do want to go there, but it's just expensive to go there because I'm in Canada, so it's not easy to get there.
Yes.
It's going there, and also my currency is much worse than the Canadian than the US one. So it's like you go there, all the prices are already expensive, and now you got to double it. It's like you got to go like 40% higher on everything already. So it's what was that?
But I mean, you were talking there about numbers and dates. We could maybe just quickly mention that the site itself, if you take the longitude line and the latitude line, and you kind of do a bit of mathematics, it comes out at exactly 33.3, which is, I mean, what are the chances of that?
Well, what do you mean by the mathematics? We could try that right now, actually. WTC NYC.
You know how you have the 33 degrees of Freemasonry.
Yeah, no,
you have the 33 degrees.
Because we could put the I'll do this right here. So this is just roughly area, but I just want to see how like what you mean exactly, and we could actually do some calculations. So here's the setup here. Do you mean add them up together? I think you might be right.
If you Google if you Google ground zero and the
it is
longitude
33.
and latitude,
Okay, you got it. No, you add them up.
33.3. It's actually 33.3.
Yeah. So you got it right.
0.3.
Okay. So it's well, you add them up. It's actually negative 33.3, just because one of them is
negative.
Yeah. No, that's a great find. Okay, so that's pretty mind blowing. All right, so we have
that other people have covered that. I was just repeating that, but yeah.
I've never seen that. WT coordinates equals sum to negative. Okay, that's pretty amazing. And it's similar to like the pyramids. Actually, it's very, very close to speed of light, which is quite ridiculous. WC coordinates sum to 33.3. Okay, what in the world? So that was first mind blowing thingy there. All right, so this is pretty cool. So I added that in the notes, and I'll be saving these notes. And yeah, okay, that's pretty ridiculous. That's actually pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. So obviously, like you were saying, whether Trump and the dates are if that's true, I don't know, but certainly with that site, there's something about that site was determined beforehand.
Yeah, and so you know about Trump, he was trying to actually build. He was trying to make the Twin Towers 2 being built. Did you know about that or no?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So and also in 2000, in the year 2000 or 2001, I couldn't find the exact date. He built the Trump World Tower at the UN headquarters. So Trump World Tower. It's at the United Nations. It's literally on it, and it's like a giant black monolith, and it's like that's how close it is. And it's like I think he built it literally, and you can see the satellite view. Yeah, it's like literally just a giant monolith there. So it's on. Yeah, you can see over here. I'll throw this in here. You can literally just see it. Giant monolith. Yeah, that might be it. Yeah, that might be it. He built basically a giant monolith on like I think year 2000. And so on. So Trump World Towers. That's pretty bizarre. And yeah. And actually, I wonder one more thing, and we'll get back on the discussion. Yeah. What was that?
Yeah.
I was going to say
just to point out, Trump wanted to rebuild the two towers, but even taller. So he's obviously influential to some extent.
It is, and also so in Vancouver, I had no idea. This was me a few days ago. There's a World Trade Center. Notice the spelling. It's in Canada, but it's a Canada Place area, but it's literally World Trade Center, and it's same lettering. That's bizarre. I didn't even know there was a in Vancouver, Canada. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So that's cool stuff there. I will close these. Yeah. So there's Barry Satoro. I like how you call him Barry Satoro. That's pretty much. And also John Hudson just emailed me. So John and I are BFFs.
Well,
yeah. Okay. So because you could see my screen on the stream, so we can go to the next setup, or basically you can lead the way however you want. What do you think we should do here?
Yeah. Well, I'll just continue with the timeline sort of journey of my understanding, and I think one of the sort of key events was in 2006. And of course, Alex Jones was becoming quite a prominent speaker and quite a prominent force. And there's a sort of infamous rally with him, or a few rallies in New York, where he was part of this movement, this truth movement. And the reason I highlight him is because I think, I'm not certain, but I think he was a key figure in this sort of initial beginnings of the cover-up, because at the time there was a lot of this talk of, somewhat the government did it. It was the inside job. That was the phrase.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of Americans seem to react to very strongly. I don't think it's the right terminology. I think maybe like a world event, or a globalist event, global event, but that seemed to be brought in, and a lot of people were put off by that. So I don't know if Alex Jones did that deliberately, someone else did. That was a sort of key moment, 2006. And then on from there, 2007, I watched as sort of the YouTube video sort of phenomenon was occurring. I watched Richard Gage in an interview with a couple of television presenters in a studio, and he basically came on very serious faced, whereas now he's almost sort of comical a lot of the time. But back then, he did have a very serious tone and serious complexion, and he basically said, the implications are dark for the country, that this event was something else, and he talked a very good talk. So 2007, I was beginning to sort of question it, and I believe.
Oh, you're a bit glitching. Okay. Oh, chat disconnected. Okay, oh, you're back on. Okay, it was disconnected for some reason.
Yeah, and then following on from that, the next year, 2008, I saw a sort of close-up view of the destruction of the North Tower, I think it was, and it looked to my sort of unaware eyes was that it looked like it was some sort of explosiveness was happening within. So that got me down the road of the controlled demolition possibility. But then that all completely vanished in 2010 when I saw for the first time Andrew Johnson and Dr. Judy Wood in a program called On the Edge. I think it's now a defunct program. It was On the Edge Media, and basically Andrew Johnson and Judy Wood in a very sort of compelling but very well put together presentation and discussion, it became clear that the controlled demolition was a no, and the actual truth was this sort of incredibly sophisticated use of energy, and something that hadn't been seen really before. So sort of 2010 to up to today, I've known really what occurred, and I've been following the cover up and various individuals. But so just to continue a little bit more, the next year, 2011, I don't know if you saw this. There was a BBC, I think it might have been a BBC Two, might have been BBC One in the UK, program called the 9/11 Conspiracy Road Trip, and this was obviously some sort of planning to this program, because there was a team of sort of younger people who supposedly were, somewhat unsure or questioning at least what had happened, and they were then being led into this newly constructed Freedom Tower and various places, I think, in downtown New York. And this is when this character, an actual individual from Edinburgh in Scotland himself, this character Charlie Veitch, sort of, I became aware of this guy, and again I thought he was a genuine individual questioning it, but since then something seems to have happened with him, and he seems to have muddied the waters like many. So I was introduced to the Charlie Veitch guy, but the point about the road trip documentary was, it was basically a dead end street. Is that the group of people were, some of them at least, were questioning the story, but they weren't allowed to take it any further. And I do remember there was a younger female there, I think maybe an academic, and she basically, if I remember correctly, she said that, I don't believe this, I don't believe it to be true. And there was a shot of her looking out into the distance from downtown New York, up the top of the Freedom Tower. And she basically said, there's a whole world out there, and we don't know what's going on. So I do remember that female was very much questioning the official story. So that was that documentary, but again, it didn't really go anywhere. And I think somebody implemented that and put that forward to try to ring fence people to taking it any further, viewers at home. You still hear me?
Yeah, I'm opening
Yeah,
out.
so
Because I have the conspiracy. I never heard about this before. Initially, I thought it was a BBC documentary, but it wasn't on. Like it was a random YouTuber made it, right? It wasn't like
No,
was it actually
no,
a BBC?
no, yes, it was an actual BBC sanctioned documentary.
Really good.
Like it was professionally done, and it had BBC crew members and cameramen. Yeah, it was a proper.
But is it this one? Like
Yeah,
just because they mentioned Bill Cooper,
That's it.
but they have Bill Cooper talking too.
Road trip.
So this one included Bill Cooper?
I think that's it. 9/11 road trip, yeah, because I mean they may have sequenced other videos like Bill Cooper, but
yeah, but no, I'm just saying because like that's so BBC actually showed that. I'm gonna actually say oh, this is this is not it. No, this is apparently a different one. So someone says, I was hoping to watch BBC show Conspiracy Road Trip. This is not it. Regardless of how much we might agree or disagree, what we have done is a bad thing. You should. Okay, this apparently wasn't the actual. This one isn't the actual.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it's apparently
I
daily.
don't know how.
Yeah, no. Like, there's people commenting saying that this person is. You know what I mean? Is this specific one? People put. It's not the same one. So, but it's on Daily Motion, because YouTube removes things. I'm gonna just. Find
I don't know how. I don't know how available that documentary road trip is. It's definitely real.
No, I know, but that YouTube one was like full on conspiracy. They included Richard Hall clips and all that. So this is it.
Right.
So this is Andrew Maxwell, you said, the presenter.
Right.
Takes 5 typical young conspiracy believers on a road trip from New York to Washington to try to tackle. Okay, but let's see if they don't. Yeah, so you have to watch it on Daily Motion.
That's Charlie Veitch with the shades on, and then the female to his left. That's the female that I do seem to remember specifically saying.
Okay, the shades.
And she certainly was questioning it. That particular female, she was questioning it.
Okay.
A lot, but.
But I like how they make all genders, all races. This is probably a they or something.
I don't know how I don't know how readily available that is to watch as a documentary, because it was BBC, and the BBC are not exactly the ideal candidate.
No, but they're also copyright claims. That's why it's on YouTube. You'll have to find it on, I think, Daily Motion. Someone said it. I just want to see if I could find it quickly. The road Daily Motion.
And I don't know how Charlie Veitch. I don't know how the character of Charlie Veitch was invited onto that program, but of course, apparently, 2 years later in 2013, from what I gather, he had a sudden abrupt about turn, and he no longer sort of said anything other than the official story was real. So the Charlie Veitch characters
is he the big one? Sorry to interrupt, but who was the Charlie Veitch? Was it tall guy right there? So I found the episode.
Yeah, tall guy. Yeah.
So I found the episode. It's apparently a banned episode, BBC.
That's him.
I just want to fast forward to this. Yeah.
And he's a academic. He has an academic background from Edinburgh University, so he's no sort of fool,
Okay. No, that's So this is the episode. This is a pretty cool stuff. Like I do want to save this. So that's why I like finding like the links of stuff and then saving it, because things disappear. If you haven't noticed, things on YouTube disappear. Richard Hall's entire channel's gone. On I'm gonna go to BBC. I'm gonna just save this right here. Okay, and I'll just save this link. Okay, so there's a link. So, and I'll download that too, just for historical purposes. Yeah, go on. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So so that was 2011 that I watched that, and that kind of just, again, it was sort of a dead end street. I don't know who commissioned it. I don't know if it was sort of post-programming of some form. So there's that, and also around about that time, I came across the character Luke Radowski, who seemed to be a genuine, decent guy. I think he probably is, but he never really went down the actual truth, and talked about free energy. I know he had the We Are Change organization, and he was a key figure.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might have even founded it, Luke Radowski, and he was getting a lot of sort of airtime on the RT News network, the Russia Today, and I think he's New York based. He's from New York, and he was going to marches and doing a lot of interviews. So I followed his sort of developments. But again, you know, he wasn't talking about free energy. And then, you know, in the United Kingdom, I had a sort of opportunity to visit and attend London because the speaker, you know, David Icke was there. So I thought I would go. I went there, and it was held at the Wembley Arena in the west sort of area of London, this sort of large area where you've got the football ground and other stuff. And you know, that was a well-attended event by people. I think there were 6,000 people. David Icke spoke for a long time, but I was interested to see what he would say about, you know, 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
I was aware that he had mentioned it in his book a year after 9/11, Alice in Wonderland book, and he then sort of backtracked on it. So I was intrigued to see what he was going to say in that current year, in 2012. So the interesting thing was about halfway through the all-day presentation, you know, he did start talking about 9/11, and he did actually mention, I'm near certain he said this, you could maybe check a DVD. He said we'll have to start looking at, you know, energy being used on the day. So he did actually acknowledge that in that talk in November. And then, of course, I'm aware that in 2017 he released another sort of follow-up book, The Trigger. And again, I think it was somewhat all over the place. He went back to controlled demolition, yet he mentioned Hurricane Erin for the first time. So I think with David Icke, it's kind of a mixed bag. So that was 2012. And then here in Edinburgh, in the month of November, there was a talk, a sort of decent turnout to the Awakened State presentation, it was called, and that was headed by Judy Wood. And I think Richard Hall and Andrew Johnson, who I briefly met there, they were instrumental in setting that up. So that was the first time I came across the three of them. And, you know, instantly meeting them as people, you know, they're 100% genuine people, and they're just trying to do good. They're just trying to get to the truth. So there's no sort of, there's nothing else to them in that sense. So anybody who says that they are, you know, lying, or they're trying to you know, muddy the waters, it's just not the case. Because I met them in person, and straight away, you know, I can confirm they're just wanting to know the truth, and they've done such a great job. So that was November 2012, and then in 2012, I saw Richard Hall do a sort of varied presentation for a few hours at a place called the Minto Hotel. I think it's in Minto Street in Edinburgh, and I think that hotel's since gone. But again, this was like the early days of Richard Hall. But I was impressed with his sort of breadth of scope and detail that he managed to put into just a few hours. So that 2012 was really the first year that I came across the sort of key people who I think were onto what the truth was, you know, at last. And then, just to keep going on, the following year, 2013, I became aware that Andrew Johnson was going to go to Edinburgh University to do a talk of his own, and this was in May, I think. And again, I went there, and it was quite well attended. It was in the old sort of university buildings, and again, he talked about 9/11 and free energy, and it became clear to me quite quickly how well knowledged and researched he was, and I think he'd done some of his own research as well. And it, you know, it was just clear to me I wasn't really going to listen to too many other people other than, you know, Dr. Judy Wood, Andrew Johnson, Richard Hall. I would still, you know, was interested to hear from other people, of course, but to me, I really sort of targeted those three individuals as the sort of best bet to learn what the truth was. So by about sort of 2013, sort of 13, 14, 15, I was certain sort of the picture. And then just to round that up, I saw Richard Hall again in 2015, and this was a place called Longstone in Edinburgh. It was a sort of either like a disused or small social club. And again, there was maybe like 50 people. And he went again into many subjects, and again he talked about 9/11. So all in all, the first half of that decade cemented my understanding of the sort of the whole picture and what the truth was.
No, it's fascinating stuff. And Edinburgh, it looks like there's a whole bunch of people at Edinburgh, like the presentations, Richard Hall, Andrew Johnson, Judy Wood. It's like, what in the world? It's like, oh, yeah. Edinburgh, that's pretty good. Richard Hall interview. Yeah. I'm just putting links to those as you speak. I was putting links to them inside the show. Oh, there's a Richard Hall's like backup channel, or somebody else has it, but that's pretty good. Okay. But yeah, go on. This is pretty fascinating. Yeah. So Richard Hall, and just go on.
Yeah, I had the sort of pleasure of meeting Andrew Johnson in the May 2013 Edinburgh University presentation. I spoke with him for about an hour, and he'd given an excellent presentation. And again, just there was drinks and sort of coffee and tea in the sort of bar area. So I went there for about an hour, and again, having that kind of one-to-one with Andrew, it's just clear that he is absolutely determined to find out, and of course now knows what the truth was, and that was always his original intention. So meeting them in person, I would say to anybody, that's just confirmation that these people are 100% genuine. So that was great. And then I think I met Richard briefly in it was 2012 that I met Richard sort of properly more. I think that was in the November 2012 presentation. And I said to Richard, it's clear what's going on, and thanks to you and Dr. Wood and Andrew Johnson, it's clear sort of what's.
Let's get you back.
Sorry. Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. Just to say, I sort of had a more full conversation with Richard Hall in November 2012, and just as a side point, at that time, he had this running campaign to do with the 7/7 event, and he was basically encouraging people to contact their local parliamentarian individual, and you could fill out a form and you could send it to the MP. So anyway, I did that, and I contacted my local politician about the 7/7 thing. So I got involved in that. So yeah, Richard Hall, great guy, and I think he's still doing great work. So, and that was basically what happened in the early part of the decade. Was I started to meet a few of these key individuals, and that just sort of enhanced the understanding and the conclusion, that what actually happened on the day.
No, that's great. No, thanks for that. Yeah, it was with me, like I have a background in pretty much engineering and so on. So once I saw the front and back cover, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's like that means that basically I felt like, okay, I'm gonna have to start making videos and so on. So I actually so it's kind of like because like I avoided 9/11 a lot, even though my cousin kept telling me inside job and all that. But then I thought I knew better because I was in university and so on. And then once I came across Judy Wood's work, I'm like, and I had to tell him he was right, but he was wrong in that it's not the inside job, like it's not the demolition nonsense. And I even convinced him about Building 7. Yeah, go on.
But yeah, just to say, but what do you think about that phrase, the psychology of it? Because it seemed to come around.
Yeah,
it seemed to be Alex Jones that kind of.
Yeah, and I wanted to show something here. So that sign, the inside job one, So you see this? You can see from the thing. So guess who made this specific one? The sign. That sign was made by Matthew Nas. You know Matthew Nas, the. But you know Matthew Nas?
And I've heard the name. Yeah.
He was the activist. So I had him on my show. So there's Matthew Nas. He actually made it, but he didn't make it for Alex Jones. He made it there in the protest, and then Alex Jones just happened to be like standing there for the photo op, but he didn't make it for him. It was there. So Matthew Nas, I had him on my show. He was an activist for so long. He actually interviewed a lot of the he interviewed a lot of the spooks and was like helping them out. And then he realized about Judy Wood's work, and then he was showing them her book, and they would not want anything to do with it. So that's him with David Ray Griffin. So do you know David Ray Griffin?
Yes. Well.
Yeah. So and there's the
David.
Yeah. Go on.
David Ray Griffin. Yeah. I became aware of him at the time, sort of the 2010s decade. I became aware of David Ray Griffin, and he was just bogus. He just, he wasn't going to talk about anything other than the controlled demolition. And since that time, he's actually deceased. So I don't know what was going on with him.
But he knew about Judy Wood's work. And Matthew Nas actually, once he started putting it on a website, and then about the 9/11 justification, Dr. Judy Wood's presentation and all that, David Ray Griffin emailed Matthew Nas saying, "I want nothing to do with your website," and you like, okay, and so that, but here's So then there's Fetzer. This is Fetzer. I think it's Kevin Barrett. There's David Ray Griffin. There's Luke, whatever. I think he also they all know. Even though you said he might be genuine, I think Luke is just following a script. And there's him with Fetzer and Kevin Barrett. I'm not sure if you know Kevin Barrett, but that's and there's Jones, Stephen. There's Fetzer.
Kevin Barrett. I followed as well.
Oh, I can hear myself in the background. But yeah, so that's that part. Yeah, so I just wanted to show he made the inside. But yeah, going back to the point, but why they use the phrase inside job. You made a great point that it like people that come across the 9/11 like the alternative media. If the first thing you see is like your own government's killing your own people, that scares off a lot of people, especially people that are very patriotic. Like they would never, and that gives me So I'm not sure if you've seen this. It's on my Telegram. So I actually talked to a person named Peter Barron. Have you seen this? I showed in my live streams multiple times, but he said he saw a UFO on 9/11. Have you seen that clip?
I have heard of this. Yeah. So
this guy here, Peter Barron, he said he saw a UFO on 9/11, and I somehow got hold of his contact info, and I actually talked to him literally last week on Friday for like almost 2 hours, and I used Grok AI with his description. Here's how the UFO he said it looked like, and it was 3 aircraft carriers long, but he still believes the official story. He still says that he says whoever thinks that whoever thinks the government killed its own people for what purpose, blah blah. So he was very patriotic, would not bat the eye, even though he saw a giant UFO in 9/11 over Brooklyn, and I believe he's telling the truth because the backstory of me finding him, it's very very unlikely. And I talked to him for 2 hours. He saw it over here and it was other people seeing it as well, but on 9/11, and he said he saw the second plane going into the thing, but he believes in the official story so strongly, and I had to like tiptoe around it. It was very very hard. But he also didn't know that there was a hurricane on 9/11. That was pretty fascinating. So yeah, I just wanted to jump in there. So basically, I think that's why the inside job is used to basically trigger people. Because if you see Dr. Judy Wood, she doesn't try to put all these like slogan terms. She just shows you here's towers turning dust, and then you can make up whatever you want to, however you want to incorporate that into your worldview. Yeah. Go ahead. But yeah, so again, you had a good point there.
I just think that I think it was that.
Yeah.
I think that in itself was a key post-programming kind of factor. Is that. Again, I think it seemed to be Alex Jones was very...
Yeah, he was a big one. He was a big one.
Vocal with that. And it seemed to put off most people immediately, and it was very much a fringe category you were put into straight away. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was a key part of this, the sort of psyop. But of course, I think it was in 2008, the kind of mainstream TV host Bill Maher, I don't know how to pronounce.
Bill Maher,
Bill Maher. He actually held up a sign, a cardboard sign. I think it was 2008, and it actually said on it, it kind of reversed the phrase, and it said 9/11 is, or 9/11 was an outside job.
Yeah, he made a joke.
They were obviously made a joke. So it was obviously an awareness that phrase was there being used sometimes, and then there was this sort of joke to flip it or whatever. But again, in that program, I don't think there was any comment on, is this a psyop of use of sentencing and language, and so it was just an odd sort of moment for him to be involved in, this mainstream presenter.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And going back to the inside job, when they said outside, that's very telling of what it actually was. It's like some advanced stuff. But going back in the inside job part, just to show you, here's the framing, how annoying it is for the normies, like to see Alex Jones loudmouth with a speakerphone saying 9/11 inside job, but like nothing's like nothing of substance is being said. So just I'm not sure if you might not be able to hear us unless you put the but
and it was almost like a sort of derogatory kind of phrase on an American, if you like. It seemed to tie into that. So I just think that maybe wasn't analysed as much as it could have been, and I just think that phrase and Alex Jones were kind of crucial in the post programming.
Yeah, I have a clip here. I'm gonna play this for the audience quickly. Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then they basically had everybody chanting that as if some sort of like rock concert, or like watching a basketball game, or watching a sport game where they're all chanting. So it's the same psychology.
And there was actually I don't know if you know, there was a clip of former President Bill Clinton, and he apparently was at some sort of a speech. It might have been in Washington, and some heckler or some guy in the background shouted about 9/11, and he said, "Oh, you're not one of those guys that are the 9/11 inside job, discussion." So it did become a bit of a meme, if you like.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not really used as much now, but I think it did a lot of damage.
It is, yeah. So you can see again, they make it such that it's easy for a politician to go after him. So here's a clip actually of it. Let's see this. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, this gets pretty good actually. Maybe it's not this one. This guy's talking about the Bohemian Club. What? Okay, wait, yeah, that was sorry, I want to... This is the one, and then we'll go back to the thing. Okay, anyways, yeah, so maybe there's a different
the result. Just to say as well, I actually do remember at the time it must have been maybe like 2005, 2006, 2007. There was actually a case of it in the UK where a guy kind of went into an everyday town or village, and I think he actually somehow he got access to the announcer in like a supermarket or something,
Yeah.
and he said, you know, 9/11 was this, 9/11
Yeah.
was an inside job, and then he was
It's a
swiftly asked to leave. So that maybe wasn't the right thing to do. However, it was popular at that time, and like I said, I think it did so much damage.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Epstein didn't kill himself meme. That one, you always see that everywhere. Is Epstein didn't kill himself, so on. Yeah, it could be accurate, but it's just so it's like it's just a statement. It's just same thing as 9/11 inside job, doesn't really mean much. But yeah, yeah. So we can move further here. I think now you wanted to go. Let's see. Thereafter, yes, this was the 2015. Oh no, we went over the Barry Soetoro speech. What did you want to discuss about the Barry Soetoro? The Barack Obama speech.
Well, that was just. I thought that was another sort of defining moment, because you know this museum and this kind of bizarre museum and everything that it entails, and all the different aspects that opened, and then of course, you know, Mr. Soetoro comes in and does a speech, and it's obviously been pre-written. The point I would make is I would be amazed if he didn't have some sort of awareness of a bigger picture, and yet he was kind of willing to deliver that speech in that museum. So again, it was just another odd development.
Yeah, definitely. And I was gonna say at the memorial. So here's the actual clip of it. I'll put this in there. So at the actual memorial, so I was told that they actually have the spire dustifying in there, like it has it on a loop. They actually showed the spire. Right. Yeah, so it's like it's in your face that tower's turning dust. Like, you know that clip of the spire turning to dust, that North Tower?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so they have it in that clip. I was told by the doctor. Yeah, Judy Wood actually went there, and yeah, so that's pretty wild. So this one is the speech there.
Yeah. If we go through the outline sort of step by step, but we could maybe come back to the museum, because there's a particular individual called Joe Daniels. I don't know if you've heard of him, Joe Daniels, and he was a key figure in the museum. So maybe we could come back to that. But
yeah, I'll just add this here. And what's cool is what did you say his name is? Okay, how is it? No, the AI is everywhere, even YouTube. You can literally ask it, summarize the video, summarize the video, and then discuss it. But
Joe Daniels.
Oh, Joe Daniels.
Joe Daniels was the CEO for 10 years at the museum. So again, highly questionable sort of figure, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, so Joe Daniels described his relation to the museum. Let's see if it answers it. Served as a president and CEO of the National September 11th Memorial Museum. He played a central role in the organization overseeing and so on. Okay. That's pretty interesting. So you can literally ask YouTube directly and it will answer you. Yeah, but yes, I was going to say, how are you for time? Just so we, because you have a lot of topics here.
Yeah, I could do like maybe another hour if we keep going here.
Yeah, so we have another hour. Yeah, just to basically, because we have, I think we have a lot of this one. So do you want me to like make sure we focus on the timeline, so that because with 1 hour, I'm not sure if you can cover everything. Do you think you can cover this? There's Joe Daniels. Okay, yeah, that's the thing. We'll cover.
Yeah, I'll see how we go, and then I will maybe add on time for me. Yeah.
I just want to basically, on my part, I'll try to be less distracted, less going sideways. So yeah, so we have that, and then the next one is so we'll keep that in mind for Joe Daniels, because you have it listed later. We'll talk about that as we get there. So Richard Hall, Edinburgh Presidential Social Club. Did we discuss this, or this 2015 now? What did you?
Yeah, so that basically brought me to 2015, and then I kind of just followed it for, you know, online videos and reading books and just intermittently keeping up to date. But those first sort of 5 years, I was very kind of active and interested.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So that's 5 years in there. That's pretty good. So I'm on my yeah. It's almost been a decade. So 2017 is when I did my first video. So 2017 on and again, when I do my videos, that's pretty much when I learned it. So it's like I learned it and I'm like, okay, this needs a video on its own. There's no. I want to see a video on that. Yeah. So that's again, a lot of this is in Edinburgh. So if there's one place I need to visit, it's Edinburgh, and I'll see you guys there.
Well, I don't know I don't know how many talks there are now, because it's maybe died down a bit, but certainly I think there's still the odd one. But at that time, there seemed to be quite a lot going on.
Yeah, and then obviously Richard has to deal with that legal issues with the corrupt government. So there's the UK
Yes,
there.
yes.
That's pretty cool there. So there's Edinburgh. I'll have this 3D map there, I guess. Okay. Yeah. So now we can go to the next setup here. So therefore, continued understanding and reading and listening. So basically, for 5 years or so, you were gaining knowledge. But it was interesting. I find is that you said by 2011 you realized pretty much 9/11 was energy an energy event, and then other people.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Then Ike and all
I
those
probably
people.
bought
Yeah, go on.
the Where Did the Towers Go book. I probably bought that in 2011,
Okay.
and just the, it's a very sort of the production value of that book is second to none. The actual binding and the presentation of the photographs, it was clear that all round that this was the definitive kind of effort to understand. So yeah, by about 2011, I didn't understand everything about the science of it, or the physics, but I understood enough to kind of grasp a lot of it, and then also, I had no reason to doubt the people of Dr. Wood, Andrew Johnson, Richard Hall, or anyone else who was talking about that sincerely.
Yeah, no, that's great. And again, and that's why I do these like videos and so on, because like I know the science, like at least from mainstream perspective. It's like I know it. So it's like it doesn't even matter. Like Judy Wood, Richard Hall, and Andrew Johnson. Like even if they were spooks in it, but which they obviously aren't. The evidence speaks for itself. It's like it's literally blatant. It's absolutely
But
ridiculous,
also just to add, I think another sort of defining factor is that you can actually visit the site.
Yeah.
And it happened on the Earth. It happened in New York. There's all these factors whereby sometimes there's other discussions where it's not as easy to do that.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, and again, that's why this separates it from like a whole bunch of other conspiracy topics. Like this is literally, you can visit the site and there's like videos from every angle from a whole bunch of people and so on. It's like and a lot of witnesses. It's a physical event that it's so well documented. And they all just And again, you could also, like, for example, seismic evidence. You can see a third party across different location all reporting essentially the same thing, that the towers went away without hitting the ground, like slamming to the ground. Yeah. So as you could see from many different ways of the same thing. All right. So that's that part. And now you want to do this pre and post. Should we move over to this part and then key examples? Go on.
Yeah. I'll maybe just add just to finish that segment of those sort of 5 years and that timeline. I also sent you these emails as well, is that I actually, on occasion, I was active on Twitter just out of sort of curiosity to see what someone's reaction. And I contacted Abby Martin, not necessarily expecting a response, but this was an American female who was, I think, an RT presenter, and she was talking about 9/11, and I got the response from her on April the 25th of 2012. I can't remember. I couldn't bring up exactly what I.
Oh, what you wrote? Yeah.
But I've got the answer, which was she tweeted back. I must have said something like, "You must look at Dr. Wood's work and free energy," and she said, "Just because I don't agree with you or Woods' theory doesn't mean I'm on the fence. I live and speak the truth. I deem credible." So, Abby Martin, if I'm correct in remembering, she also said that she actually had read the book or glanced at the book, which may be true, maybe not. So
Yeah, it's probably, yeah.
she basically said she looked at it and she didn't see any evidence. So that was another sort of problem that a sort of prominent speaker, Abby Martin, and presenter, what wasn't really going to.
Yeah, and I archived that. I archived that tweet because you sent me that. I put it on the Telegram. You can see on the live stream window. I have it open.
Yeah.
So at CJ John 4.
Just to say that for the audience. Yeah, just to say it for the audience. Yeah.
Yeah, but it says your post was deleted by you. So you deleted your Twitter account, or?
Yeah, I think later on I must have.
Yeah, and that's why
I wasn't active for that long on it, but I can't exactly remember, but I must have deleted it.
Yeah, it says you're deleted by. It says post was deleted by author. I know, I agree. That's why I like the Hive blockchain. Like, you couldn't delete it if you tried. You can't even delete your own post.
Yeah,
that's why.
And just quickly to follow on from that, I also there was also this other individual who was a television actor, film actor, and an American guy called Sunjata. I think that's the correct surname, Sunjata, Daniel Sunjata, and he actually was in a TV episode of a program called Rescue Me, and in that program, he actually questions the official story of 9/11, and he says, it's basically a plan by, the neocon group and so on. So that actually got into that episode, and again, I just sort of sent a message, not expecting a response, and I couldn't quite bring up what he had replied, but I did manage to bring up what I had said to him, and I sent you this by email. So I'll just say this for the audience, what I actually tweeted. So this was July 29th, 2012, and I said, referring to the sort of questioning of 9/11, I said, correct, story is a lie, but the thermite explosives is also a lie. You must read Judy Wood's work. So I did get a couple of responses from these people that were prominent apparent truth people.
Okay.
I think the Sunjata guy was sincere, and he just didn't know more. Whereas I think Abby Martin is bordering on the spook.
Yeah, and it says right here from your email, you said that he replied something like, "I don't know, man. All I know is the official story is untrue." Again,
that's right.
Yeah, and according to
just to add
that's the email you
that
said,
particular the remark that you made there, where he said, "I don't know, man." I think I had mentioned Hurricane Erin, so he was sort of amazed at that, and he said, "Oh, I don't know, man, but all I know is the story's not true." So that was actually referring to Hurricane Erin, his response of, no, I don't know, man.
Erin, yes, apparently, and it says here he believes 9/11 was an inside job. Okay, but on Wikipedia it says that he was. And now he narrated Loose Change, an American coup, the last in the Loose Change documentary.
Yeah. And that I noticed there on that page, it said the Rescue Me TV program. So yeah, that's confirmed. He was on that program.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is Wikipedia. He's a decent guy. Oh, a big name, semi-celebrity. Like I met. Do you know Chris Hedges? Do you know these guys, Chris Hedges? No. And I was going to say another, but anyways, go on.
Not heard of him.
Okay. He appeared as Special Forces operative. That's another spooky thing. So, in Dark Knight Rises, he was a Special Forces operative, and he's narrating Loose Change. That's some spooky coincidences. That's interesting.
But again, he's somebody that's faded from the kind of sort of overall movement, if you like. He's faded completely from the scene.
No, I agree, but that's kind of why it's like they always throw in other people and so on. Like Richard Gage is like a big name. He's like, again, he gets paid like $100,000, so he's like a high level spook. And I'm gonna just archive this on the Hive blockchain. I'm gonna go to archive MES Truth right here, MES Truth. Okay, so I just archive that webpage so it's there forever. So anyways, I'll leave it there. But yeah, so that's pretty fascinating stuff. I do like how you go after them, and that's why you should have deleted your Twitter account. It would have been great to see the responses over the years.
Yeah, I think it was just I was moving about different places, and I think I just, I had multiple emails, and it then became the X format. So
Yeah.
I think maybe they closed. I think if you don't use it, does the account close
Oh,
down? I don't know, but
that might have happened. Yeah. Again, that's another part about the centralized stuff. They don't last. Like they will get rid of you. Like Google will start charging money. Like they're already giving limits on my how much email space they're gonna have to pay, or else they're just gonna remove it, and so on.
Yeah. Well, I only
Yeah.
the Twitter and the X and that. I only used it, like I said, for about a year, and
No, that's all good. It's all good. But you got again, you got the Abby Martin clip. That was that's well worth it. Yeah.
That came from, I was able to only access that because of the website, the Wayback Machine, which I hadn't come across before.
Yeah,
so that's how I accessed it.
No, that's good because I'm actually writing a book with the help of someone on just a subscriber. It's gonna be like I think I have it on the Google Drive. Let me see Google Drive. How do I open the Google Drive? Okay, so it's actually on 9/11 Spooks. So I have a list of them. Abby Martin's gonna be there. I'm pretty if again, people can make up their own mind, but I just have a list and make it alphabetical order. I go to my drives. Where's the MES? I think I have it somewhere in here. Where did it go? Spooks. 9/11 Truth. Yeah, Spooks. I'll just show you on the thingy here. So 9/11 Spooks. I have a database, but I want to make it like a book. I wrote it on Abby Martin already. So alternative media and citizen journalist. Right, yeah, so I have 9/11 Spooks encyclopedia. It's gonna be like a book encyclopedia.
Right. Right.
And I have a list of all of them. Oh, Patrick Bedell. Okay, so he's already written a whole lot on this. Yeah. Okay. So,
and then there was also Bill Maloney in England. He was sort of he wasn't really sort of 9/11. He was more the kind of Jimmy Savile scandal.
Yeah. So he was that guy, but was he open-minded to it at least?
I think he is, yeah. But again, he was more. I think he's done a lot of great work to expose the sort of networks in the UK. But he was someone who was not as informed, if you like. But I think he was open to it.
Okay, that'd be good. Because yeah, another person was on Richard Hall's. Did you know the porter? The porter, he was on Richard Hall's show. He's a porter.
Right.
Does that name?
Oh yeah,
yes. So he's responded to a couple of my 9/11 videos. So he's on board. So he knows full well.
Is it somebody called Ben? I think.
Yeah, Ben the porter. So you go to Rumble. Rumble. I think he's on there. Ben the porter. Ben. Let's see if it shows up.
I think he has another surname, but
yeah. But he's commented on my video, so he is he understands the thing, so he's a good guy. Just that's how I judge people. Yeah. So he commented 9/11 and he agrees. It's tower turn to dust. We're good to go. So
you want me to continue on with the next sort of phase, yeah?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. So I have here key examples that you remember yourself. Ron Johnson mention of Ike. Okay, this is. Oh no, John Johnson. Yeah. John Ronson. there's a senator called Ron Johnson who's apparently heading the 9/11 like investigation like nonsense.
I know him. No.
Yeah,
this was a UK.
Okay, John Ronson.
I don't know if I've spelled that correctly, but it was a UK based journalist or documentarian guy, and I've just highlighted that one because I have a vague memory of watching that. I must have watched it about 2003 or something.
The Secret Rulers of the World. So it is, yeah. So
that was it.
Okay, Secret Rulers of the World.
And he also, that was the first time I ever heard of David Icke, and it was sort of, I must have watched it like on a VHS, television type, a VHS. It was either a recording or the quality of the video wasn't very good. But I do remember watching that, and that was the first time I came across sort of David Icke and the possibility of some other groups, that were.
But you wrote 2000. It's actually 2001.
I saw. Okay, 2001. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, because I just saw it on here just because the dates matter. Dates are pretty important with 2001. 2001's pretty big. 2001 right here. Mention of they mention of Icke. Yeah, they do. Rulers. That's pretty wild here. And But look
then I'll just come on to the
look at the dates. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
I've then just come on to this next example, because this was a really sort of
Oh, Ryan Adams.
almost like an eerie one for me, because I remember 9/11 well enough. I was old enough to remember it. I was like just starting high school and that, and I think it was on the Friday before the Tuesday of 9/11. On the Friday in the UK, they used to put this music show, Top of the Pops, on, and this was Top of the Pops 2. And basically on that Friday evening, they showed a brand new video, or a debut video of a song called New York, New York. So this would be the 7th of September 2001. A song called New York, New York by Ryan Adams. And, if you watch that video, I think it was filmed on the Friday itself. So it was shot earlier in the day and then somehow released very quickly. And if you watch that video, it's pretty clear that there's some sort of foreknowledge, because the singer is over in Brooklyn, and the camera often in the video is looking directly at the towers. So to me, this was a huge sort of, looking back on it, this was a big pre-programming example. And of course, that after 9/11, the week after, I remembered thinking back to the Friday evening. It must have been on about 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. And looking back at it now, it's really quite eerie. But if you can bring up that video.
Oh, it is up on the stream, on the link. You might be I might be a bit delayed on your end, but like YouTube might be a bit delayed, but it's playing it as you speak.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was another kind of memorable kind of happening. And then sort of going on from that, I remember the first anniversary, 2002, I watched what was called, I think, just the 9/11 documentary, TV documentary. And it had a kind of Hollywood introduction. And I think there was various family members or witnesses and people that were in and around there that were in this 9/11 documentary. But this was the first time that I saw and became aware of the French Naudet brothers in this 2002 production. And the Naudet brothers, there's huge problems with those two individuals, huge problems. And, they should be questioned. They should be considered highly suspect. Were you aware of the Naudet brothers?
Yeah, they're the ones that filmed the that first impact, like the one when they were filming already, and then that's the one with the So I have it pulled up right here. I think I may have this documentary. I may have it. I think what's his name? Mark Cullen may have sent me it, or I may have bought it. But I may have it.
Yeah. So I watched that, and one of the things that I remember, and one of the things that's notable about that and those two brothers, is that one of the brothers is filming as the first tower starts to vanish. One of the brothers is down at the ground level, and at that moment, both towers have been damaged, and there is fumes coming from both towers. But one of the brothers goes into the north tower, and he goes into the lobby and he films stuff. And this was significant because at that moment the south tower starts to vanish. So the point that I would make about that is, to me, that suggests that brother knew that the south tower would be the first one to go, because it was like a 50-50 chance that if he had gone into the other tower, he would have been killed. So again, he wouldn't have been able to tell the story. You wouldn't have had the documentary or both Naudet brothers surviving. So is that a piece of evidence, I suppose, that the brothers knew and were kind of briefed beforehand. This was the plan. You're going to go down there. You're going to go into that building at that sort of particular time. And of course, the South Tower vanished. And this brother, I don't know which one it is, but this brother then exits the lobby of the North Tower. And of course, there's sort of dust blanketing everywhere, so he can't really see much. But he's picking it up with his camera. So anyway, that 2002 documentary was the kind of worrying introduction to the Naudet brothers.
Yeah, and the other thing I just realized right now is and they're also brothers, right? So you have the Twin Towers, and the most famous filmers are the brothers. So it's like, what is
they or twin? I don't know if they're twin brothers, but I think they may well be. But
yeah, that's a good thing.
Yes.
If it's twins, that's just it just people don't say it's twins. They say they're born. Okay, no, they're 3 years apart. So there's 3 years apart.
Right, so they're brothers, but not twins. But
yeah, and they're
that
born
was
in France. Okay, they're born in France.
That was a hugely sort of troubling realization, because the possibility that they would be filming with a fire crew and going down to get the shot at the exact sort of time that something happened at the North Tower, the apparent plane, the chances of them looking at that and being at that location, that was, highly unlikely. And then also filming, and like I said, going into the correct tower when the other one is the first one to go. Yeah, it just didn't add up. So the Naudet brothers were a huge kind of awakening and problem. And then I've got it in the outline. Also, 10 years after 9/11 in 2011, they then did the Naudet brothers did another documentary called 9/11 10 years later. So again, they weren't questioned in that. I think it was basically, again, a post-programming psychological operation, because the Naudet brothers, if you read about them online, a lot of people know that those brothers are, the complete opposite of sincere. So how this 2011 documentary missed the questioning of them, again, it was obviously a deliberate kind of sort of surmising of the official story, but no talk of anything else.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Wikipedia. Apparently, their first film was in the year 2000. It was Hope, Gloves, and Redemption, and centered around young boxers in the Bronx. So again, these guys are from
right.
They're from France. Their first films is in New York, in the year 2000.
Yeah. So again, that's like an odd timing, that near to that time,
and
they're sort of suddenly filmmakers,
Yeah, and also the other thing is, so they filmed both of the quote planes. And then if you see the second one, they're the ones that captured the disappearing wing. But like, what are the odds that they have to capture right at the like they just film like a few seconds? It's as if maybe they were just standing there so that all they can capture is just the moment of it going in. So I think you've seen that one, the one Mark Collins analyzed a lot.
Yeah.
That's
yes.
Yeah, the one where it's they literally have a disappearing wing there. I'm just gonna see if I can pop it up. I have a Naudet here. Naudet. Yeah, so this is gonna be 609. Yeah, this one here. No, whoops. Yeah, this is the one with the disappearing wing. But yeah, it might be a bit delayed on your end because you're watching the stream there. Yeah. So again, it's just because they see the second impact, but it's like they don't see anything but that last second. Like they just see it for one literally like half a second. So that's the thing, which is
So I don't know if they were aware of.
Yeah, but again, it's hard to tell. Yeah,
or there was some sort of briefing that they had.
Yeah, because they are again filmmakers, so it's like, how much would they even be told, or they're just told, look at this time, and then nothing else. Yeah, like a briefing. But yeah, so we can continue for this. Now the next one you said 2011 9/11 conspiracy road trip. I think you wanted to discuss that, or.
Well, we sort of went over that. That was the one with Charlie Veitch and so
Okay,
on.
okay. And then there's the other one,
Yeah,
Not a
yeah.
Brothers 10 years later. I haven't heard about that, but what's different from their 2002 documentary?
I think it's basically just I think I've only seen bits of it, but I think it's basically just it's just there to kind of confirm, the official kind of narrative, and it's also to kind of give them a chance to continue their story of, seemingly by chance that they were there in New York and they were happened to be filming a fire crew, and it was all just by sort of chance. So that was their opportunity in that 2011 documentary to put to bed any questioning of them. Because I think there was a lot of people who were questioning the two of those individuals. And as far as I'm aware, they're not, they keep a low profile. They're not really, they've not been charged. They've not been questioned fully.
Yeah, but also like they probably have been well aware of a lot of the 9/11 talk, like the on the conspiracy side. So it's like anybody who's dealt with 9/11 for this long, they should know by now the towers pretty much disappeared. So that's another part. It's like how come we pick this up? They can't. And that's part of the I think it further reemphasizes that they're not just regular people, but again it could be either or, but they should still know by now.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. So I don't know if you want to maybe the sort of earlier emails I sent about examples in television and films regarding pre and post.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. I actually have a list of that email. Yes, so this is the examples. I'm gonna open up some of them. Pre and post show. So this was the email you sent before. Let's see. This is another earlier email. Part post-predictive programming. Okay, so this is the email. Whoops. I don't know what's happening here. This is the one. I'll close this. Yeah, leave. Okay. This one here. So you sent this one. You said just these are a list of examples. This is American Psycho. This movie, American Psycho 2.
Yeah. So some of them I don't know if they're that clear or obvious, or if it's nothing at all. But the certain ones I think are. But that one, the sequel, American Psycho, obviously you've got like the subject of psycho and psychopathic individuals, and then on one of the posters, and I think maybe VHS.
Yeah, I'm showing it right now.
Well.
That's saying I'm showing it. It has the Twin Towers.
I think that kind of two towers image is on a few different examples of that film. So
yeah, no, that is
maybe it's nothing, but I did notice that one.
Yeah, but what
it was released?
What year was this released? Do you know?
I think it was 2002, but I think it was made in 2001. So it was filmed in 2001. So again, was that poster released before? I don't know, but
yeah, it
was around that time.
Because that logo reminds me of oh no! So apparently this is a standalone sequel to the American Psycho 1 was 2000, and then this was 2 was 2002 released. But the Wikipedia cover doesn't have the Twin Tower logo. It just has a number 2. So that's pretty interesting. And that's cipher. But another thing I want to show is so New York City. Just show you one thing. Manhattan. Take. So this one is Friday the 13th. This was like the 8th edition. Apparently this is where they mentioned Trump's birthday. But look at it. It's again similar Psycho, and I think you have the Twin Towers in the background or something like that. But it's New York City. New York has a new problem. This was in what year was that? 88, I think, or around there. But anyways, that's it's anything you see, Trump's there. So that's American Psycho. This is Same Planet, New Scum, summer 2002. And again, it's a lot of things. The year 2. There's a 2 there. Okay.
Yeah. So just on that, again, I don't know if that the Men in Black kind of franchise is if that's depicting it. But that kind of motif of a two seemed to come up a lot around about that time, 2001, 2002, in a lot of the films.
No, it is, and I'm not sure
You
if
know,
have you ever seen the what is it, Sesame Street, the number 11?
Yeah, I think so.
You've seen that one?
Yeah,
This one here, and they also use. So this was filmed in 1992, all right? But they used the 2001 Space Odyssey theme song. You've heard about this one, right? Like, do you know what I'm referring to? This one here. If you click the episode.
I think so. Yeah, I think I've come across it before in a video.
Yeah, and so this is what so it has the 2001 Space Odyssey music. Yeah, and then they talk about the Twin Towers. Yeah, I'm just gonna fast forward.
Yeah.
And there's towers. And notice how they reappear as well. So it's like magically appears. But again, yours a bit delayed, but you'll see this one. Yeah. So anyway, so that's pretty wild stuff there. But again, yeah, I put everything in my Telegram on that, and yeah. So yeah, that is fast. And then the Ryan Adams one. That Ryan Adams song looks like the Knotted Brothers footage.
Yep.
That's what I noticed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I hadn't seen that Sesame Street one actually. I'm just picking it up now. Yeah.
Okay, you saw that. Yeah.
That is odd. I've not seen that before, but that's very odd. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the I'll copy that. Yeah, just because they talk about number 11, but they also use the 2001 Space Odyssey music. Like, what are the odds?
Right. Yeah.
So in other words, yeah, when they get Sesame Street is pretty big.
We know. Yeah. Obviously, that ties into the director Kubrick and you know, The Shining and other stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that they've used that template in music. You know.
Yeah, and that guy. Yeah, and again, 2001 Space Odyssey. The guy who wrote that. What's that guy's name? Arthur C. Clarke.
Yes.
You know Arthur C. Clarke. So he actually did the foreword. He signed the foreword for a book on cold fusion. So Arthur
Right, didn't know that. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So and because I've made a video about this actually. So in this book, it was on cold fusion. It was actually signed by Arthur C. Clarke in the year 2000. So before 9/11.
Right.
And
so
Arthur,
again, it's a strange connection. Yeah.
And Arthur C. Clarke also did research in we're talking in the 60s on ball lightning. They called it globular ray. And there's this website. Yeah, so he actually interviewed people and so on. And there's I found this because one of the websites that Judy Wood references is she references like a circular hole in glass. It is so it's from an article. And basically they're saying that during a thunderstorm at a university, there was like they attributed it to a globular ray or ball lightning, and then in there they're talking about how Arthur C. Clarke would record interviews on people discussing seeing ball lightning and so on. I'm like, this is Arthur C. Clarke in the 60s, so before he even wrote his book. I'm like, so he's into advanced tech before that. Okay, so that's again, Arthur C. Clarke is another in the know.
So I'll just maybe highlight a few kind of films that I think are key examples. I'll just interject from that list that you're going through. You know, the sort of American Psycho, Men in Black. Just come back to that, but maybe just go into a couple of examples. And this was one I came across more recently, the 1978 musical The Wiz. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those. Yeah,
it's basically a sort of modern Wizard of Oz, or a 1970s version of the Wizard of Oz, but a musical throughout. And I think it had Michael Jackson and others. And the thing that sort of struck me about it was, you know, it's based in New York. It's quite kind of, you know, the set design is very thorough and detailed. So the filmmakers are obviously putting a lot of, you know, intent into the shots and the scenes. And of course, at some point in the film, the kind of yellow brick road or the journey takes them to the World Trade Ground Zero area. And if you watch one of the videos of it, if you watch one of the clips of it, there's this sort of what appears to be a very much a kind of dance ritual celebration of the sort of the plaza and the towers by the characters in the film. And it's a very sort of strange kind of choreographed scene, and very sort of eerie as well, because again, it seems to be there's some sort of worshipping of the buildings, and there's kind of these bright colors of red and green. And again, is that depicting something sort of, is that some sort of symbolism of some kind? So I think that the Wiz film and the makers of that, there was reasons for them putting that in there, this kind of occult symbology. And I later learned that the actual filming of the dance sequence at what was called the Austin J. Tobin Plaza, the base of the towers, that apparently the actual filming of that was a logistical, nightmare. It was just, it basically was something that you wouldn't have made in that era, and the cost of doing it was so high. So that would make me think that there was a reason for that particular scene, and any messages behind that. So that film, The Wiz, I think was significant, and it's maybe worth watching again, or certainly scenes to do with the World Trade Center.
Yeah, I'm showing it right now. I'm showing it on the thing. Because I have seen a clip, a video talking about it, and it looks like an Eyes Wide Shut. Some people are wearing Eyes Wide Shut type gear. And the logo of the news channel, it's like they use the ABC, the I, but to put a Z inside, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's like the Emerald City, and it also looks like the top is like shining.
So it's sort of,
yeah. No, this is
so it was a very sort of
yeah.
It was sort of very strange and kind of unsettling experience, I think, if you watch some of that film. As some of the people are saying, it's not unlike the Eyes Wide Shut picture by Kubrick. So you can maybe draw some parallels there. But
yeah,
so that was the Wiz.
It also looks like
picture.
It looks like one of the CERN ceremonies, like those CERN where they dance to a giant Indian Shiva like statue or something. Yeah. That's definitely.
Yeah, so it was maybe religious aspects as well. Yeah. So that was a kind of a interesting but strange film. And then just this all been discussed before. We could maybe just touch it briefly, but the Back to the Future trilogy, and particularly the first two pictures in that series, I'm sure you'll know about this, but there's a few different scenes, one at a mall and one at a sort of town center area. On the road, there's like an 11 and there's a 9 in one of the shop windows, and then earlier at the mall there's the Twin Peaks Mall, and then there's a digital clock. You'll know about this, but the one thing I've not heard so much about, I'd maybe just add to that, is in the sequel there seems to be even more references, and there's actually a scene where there's the towers in the family house on a projector screen.
Oh wait!
And they seem to actually.
Wait, go on. Wait, go. Say that again. That was pretty bombshell.
Sorry.
Say that again.
Yeah, in the I'll just take it slower. I think it's maybe midway through the Back to the Future 2 film. The family that is the main character has gathered in the sort of living room, and it's meant to be set in the future. So there's this futuristic projector screen television. And as they're talking, there's there's a video, or there's a still image of the towers, and then I think the projector either rolls up, or the video somehow is kind of goes upwards, and it actually looks like the buildings are sort of disappearing. So again, I don't know if that's anything. That could just be sort of just by chance. But one of the other sort of main points I would come to in that sequel film is, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a heavy use of this emphasis of holograms and holographic technology. So this film was made in 1989. So at that time, technology wasn't as developed as it is now. And yet in this film, where there is also 9/11 references again, there's 3 instances of this holographic technology. And of course, we know that holographic technology was used on 9/11. It appears with the plane imagery and all that discussion. So in that film, there's 3 examples. There's one of a Jaws shark that's a hologram. There's one of a ticket that's important and used throughout the film. That's a hologram. And then there's a hat cap worn by the main character that's also holographic. So that was just something I picked up on that I thought was a bit odd for that time.
Okay, I think I found a clip, and it looks like they have a projector, and there's gonna be a Twin Towers soon. The next one's gonna be Twin Towers, I think. Wait up, she's gonna pop it up. This be a Twin Tower. Yeah. It might be a bit delayed, but there was I just saw Twin Towers. I just don't know how to find that again.
Yeah.
I do. There's a Twin Towers. Okay, it's gonna show it soon. So this guy wearing the glasses, you might be a bit delayed. It's at the 150. Yeah, and there's the Twin Towers. Okay, there it is. So she has a projector.
Yeah, I think if you watch it in the film, what happens is that other people had noted this, that the towers, the way the image, the way that the image goes away, you could maybe say it almost looks like they're disappearing, or they're
it goes up. Oh, the way it comes in, and then they glitch out.
Okay. So again, as the director put that in, is it by chance? I don't know, but that was just another instant of it. And the holographic kind of technology, again, it might be nothing, but it was just something that I had observed and tied in with, of course, the possibility that it seems pretty clear, but let's just say the possibility of holographic technology on 9/11. So was the director tying that in? Yeah. And again, is that some sort of foreknowledge?
Yeah, and apparently in Back to the Future 1, when the guy wakes up, Marty wakes up from a nightmare, he wakes up at 10:28 a.m. That's what it shows on the clock. And that's when the North Tower fell. So 9.
Right. 10, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I put that on my Telegram. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So and then just in the third film, I don't know. I've not really watched that.
Yeah.
For many years, but I think there's not much in that. There may be one scene or one photograph where there's a clock that nearly reads 9/11. I don't know, but certainly the first 2 films, it appears absolutely there is pointers towards some sort of foreknowledge.
But I was gonna say as well. Do you know that antagonist Biff inside the or just the Biff guy inside the Back to the Future? Guess who who was modeled after?
Yeah.
He's,
is it Trump?
Yeah, it was Trump. The directors even said, so Biff to the future as a meme there. But it was basically Trump. They even look like each other too, and they have like the hotel, the casinos, and all that, or everything. Biff everywhere. And the producer actually said, or the director or writer or whatever, that they were modeling him after Trump. So again, Back to the Future. Basically, 9/11, Trump are very related. And again, and then have you seen the clips of Trump on 9/11 describing what he saw? Like literally, like out of all people they interviewed.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. I've seen the clip where he walks. There's one where he's walking down the street quite quickly on the day. I've seen that. I've seen one from 2002 where he said, I think he was evacuated.
Yeah.
Either in 2002 or something because they thought it was another attack. I've seen some of it.
Yeah, and he also said that. He had the Twin Towers too. He was trying to rebuild. But the other one was he actually said that no way can a plane go through that, and he thinks maybe they had bombs inside the planes. And so it's pretty fascinating. Oh, but another thing. So I'm not sure if you've ever seen the part where I always emphasize that the exterior lobby columns on 9/11, right? So they are pretty much irrefutable proof that well, nothing's on top of them. So in other words, imagine your door in your house. Imagine your house collapses, but your door is towering above your
Yeah.
roof. There is no roof. It's just your door is standing perfectly vertical. So in
Yeah.
other words, you can conclude that everything above it is gone. So in the design that Trump was trying to make for the Twin Towers 2, he wanted the exoskeleton, like the lobby columns, to be in like a memorial to show the lobby columns still standing. So it's like anyone
Yeah.
that's designing that knows full well the towers disappeared. Like it's just there's just
Yeah.
no way around it. And I think and it shows Liberty Plaza spheres as well. So you want to have it exactly the same location. So that's for and then they have
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I
go.
was aware of that and how he wanted to rebuild them taller. I'll maybe just bring in this point about, I don't know if you know, I think it was in recent months, there seemed to be some sort of a discussion that they might rebuild something like the Twin Towers in Chicago. I don't know if you came across that.
Oh,
There's some sort of a movement to rebuild even taller. You can maybe look that up. So again, is that part of a sort of creating a confused picture in the post 9/11 world, and we're going to maybe rebuild it in Chicago, which I think would be unlikely. But some
Well, apparently Chicago
architect
has a
or-
Twin Towers apartments. Apparently there's a Twin Towers apartments. They already have that. I think I may have
Right.
shared something. Twin Towers. Oh, maybe it was Mexico. But there is one in Mexico. So Mexico has many Twin Towers. They literally call it Las Torres. And then you said Chicago. I'm not sure if they're building. Yeah, that is. But it looks like there's a company called Twin Towers. Yeah,
Yeah, but this was apparently an actual. They were going to rebuild something like the two towers in Chicago.
Rebuilding
maybe, yeah.
Twin Towers in Chicago. I need to find this. That is these are important setup there. Exact replica of destroyed Twin Towers said to be erected in Chicago. Yeah, you are right. There's a bid there, and I have to use the word erected. Like, okay, so they want to make exact replica. And this is an aspiring architect has launched the bid, so it hasn't confirmed, but well, this was as of 2026, so it's recent.
Yeah, I just came across it, and again, is this part of a post-programming sort of scenario where you?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it'll ever happen, but why is this? Why are they doing this? Is this, if it was built, is that to try to continue the official story? I don't know.
Yeah, that's essentially what happens, and it's also again like the designer, he wants to make his name known, or and again to public the news articles and all that. But this is very, very interesting. I want to try to archive this. I'm just gonna archive a lot of these posts directly on the Hive blockchain, so I have it forever. So I'm like, all right, yeah. So I archived that. That's pretty good stuff. Yeah, I had no idea about that. All right. So we're at the 3 well, we're at the 2 hour mark. Continue. We'll see the next setup. Let me know how you are doing for time. It's at 1980s.
So I'll go on.
Yeah. Go on.
In terms of the other examples, so I mentioned. I mean, there's one called the 10th Kingdom from the year 2000, where bizarrely it's some sort of fantasy film, and some giant character in New York seems to stand, and then the towers fall down. So again, that was a year before 2001. That was another sort of bizarre and odd example.
Yeah.
There's so many of them in the 1980s and cartoons.
Okay. But I want to cut you off to say the one that you in your email. This one I had no idea about until like when you sent the email. This is on the Back to the Future. I mean the 2001 Space Odyssey. The bathtub matches the bathtub on the Twin Towers. This one is.
It does look like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is. And what year was this movie made?
A Space Odyssey.
Yeah. What movie? The movie, not the book. Movie.
1968. 1968.
The movie was 19. Wait, no, like, and they have that. They have the ramp too on the space on the. This was okay. That's a movie. Yeah, 1968. Okay. This is a bit too much. This is ridiculous. This one. This is just eerie. I'm gonna have to copy this and post it in. This one deserves its own I'm just gonna have to put it somewhere right here. It deserves its own videos. Sorry about this. This is just like
Again,
yeah, I have a good sense of
that,
what's
that,
big.
that,
This is big.
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Again, that almost suggested that as the towers were being constructed,
Yeah.
because if you look at them being constructed, you can see that kind of imagery as well. Again, I don't know if it was Kubrick having knowledge as well, but that seems to have been placed in that film as some sort of significance. And of course, it's that kind of that kind of imagery is returned to after the event itself, whereby you've got the cleanup and then a ramp and then the bathtub exposed. So that was odd that was in a film that was, 33 years before.
Yeah.
1968. So,
yeah, this is actually amazing. And yeah, and I know it's a 33. And then 1968 is when the towers were, I think, the construction. Let me see the timeline. So 1968 is a big year. 1968. So 1968 was when the first 911 emergency call was made by the Alabama Telephone Company. And then Federal Communications, FCC, and AT&T agreed upon 9/11 for nationwide emergency call. So that's 1968. And then Stanley Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke's movie 2001: A Space Odyssey is released. So 1968 on January, February, March, April 2nd. And then World Trade Center construction began on 1968. Right. And then coronavirus, the first ever shown in print, was in 1968 as well. And then you had the moon landing in 1969. But yeah, it looks like a lot of the stuff was happening around 1968. So again, Stanley in 2001, and it's called 2001, and WTC construction began in 2001. And there's a monolith that the Millennium Hilton on it's literally their actual their contact number is 2001. Have you seen? Do you know that, or has 2001?
Yeah, I was aware. Yeah.
And there's actually a video of a person on 9/11 saying, like, she's looking at the towers, and she's saying that my number is 2001. Monolith. Yeah, also say space 2001 space call. Yeah, Millennium Hilton, and I actually have a video of her while the towers are still dustifying. Well, they're still set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's again. That was just a bit ridiculous, and they still have it as 2001, and it's like a giant monolith staring at a tower. So what I'm trying to say is like this is literally 2001, and they're the Space Odyssey one. That's just it's just too much. Okay, yeah, we can continue further. Let's go back into here. Why doesn't it show properly?
So if you just continue on from like the Men in Black sort of films, you then had the Spider-Man film, which apparently had, I think it was at the end of the trailer, there was an image of action scene where the helicopter's in between the two towers, so that got pulled from the trailer. So again, that was made in that the film was made like in 2001, 2000, before, must have been 2001, released 2002. So again, that was sort of note. That's been talked about. We can go through the list, and maybe people can check these things up themselves as well. But in 2002, you had a film called Panic Room, which was set in New York. Again, it doesn't seem to be significant, but if you look at the poster, there seems to be kind of a Twin Towers motif, perhaps, and actually in the film opening you can see the two towers kind of hidden in a shot of the opening credits. So again, I think that film, it's a milder sort of example, but again, at that time there seemed to be a lot of films with posters and maybe openings whereby the two towers were significant. So was that just Hollywood films being released, or was it actual some sort of telling the audience and telling of any significance?
No, I agree. This is the part where like my view is like the more blatant one, like I think Space Odyssey one, that's pretty much a slam dunk. But like sometimes it just so my view in reality is like half of it is subconscious. Like for example, the bigger the event, I think that the bigger the coincidence happened. Like you've heard about for example
Right.
like have you ever seen the I've talked about this before. Do you know when New York City / Manhattan was discovered by the West?
Oh, 1750 something.
But what day?
Oh, I don't know.
September 11th.
Oh, no, September 11th. September
Yeah.
11th.
Yeah, September 11. Let's
yeah.
say discovered. Let's see, I had this. So Manhattan, I had to post it. Manhattan and New York were literally discovered on 9/11/1609. Notice the nines in there as well. So Henry Hudson, you know, with the Hudson River and so on, discovered Manhattan Island and the indigenous people living there in the year 1609 on September 11th.
Yeah. But
So that's
again, maybe that's significant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's one of those where it's like, what in the world is going on? It's like that's just something else.
And there was just another one I've remembered. I actually saw this earlier. Just as I was going over things.
Mm-hmm.
You'll know the Simpsons episode where there's a comic book.
Yeah.
Held up, and it says, I didn't actually know that particular episode was apparently season 9, episode 1. So again, you've got that 9/1 or 9/11, you know, numerology. So that was just something I came across today. But just continuing on through from that kind of couple of years of 2001, 2002, where there was all these films seemed to be. You then had the War of the Worlds film, 2005. I think that was notable because although it was after sort of 9/11, the technology seems to be that the quote unquote a death ray is used by the alien attackers. But that death ray, if you watch that film, it's kind of got an eerie resemblance to, you know, free energy, because the people are actually vanishing, the people are turning to dust.
Yeah.
There's dustification. So that film, I think, was significant to look back on. You then had another film, the Final Destination series, where people are getting targeted by a force and so on. It's death and destruction. But in that film, which was the third in the series, 2006, there's a particular scene where one of the characters drops an image of the towers on to some grassy bank, and you know, it's got a plain kind of shadow going towards the towers. Again, it's, you know, that's that kind of programming of there were planes. So we're keeping that story going. But again, you know, whoever the director was, they kind of hover over that shot for quite a deliberate number of seconds. So again, is that a little bit of post-programming? It might be. Following on from that, you had the film Cloverfield, which seemed to be some sort of force that was destroying New York. It seemed to be some UFO force. And there's a lot of sort of video camera usage and terror from the characters. But what I noted about that film Cloverfield was, if you look at the poster, it's got a poster of the Ground Zero site, and you know, I think the tagline is, you know, there's some things there, some things, you know, coming, you know. And again, it seemed to be there seemed to be a push by the film industry to cement the official story of you know, planes and collapse, and you know, we're to be in terror, and the films that were getting made were, you know, they were taking advantage of that. And it does seem that these were examples of some sort of post-programming. So the Cloverfield films seem to be some sort of first-person, you know, experience, whether you saw it in a cinema or whatever. And that was almost like a 9/11 feeling to it. That there was a hidden force that was causing destruction in New York, and we've all to be in fear, you know. Following on from that, there was the film, the sort of comic book film Watchmen. You know, I'm not someone who really watches these films, but that particular one, about halfway through, there's a shot of characters talking in a building. It might even be the Empire State Building, and in the background, because it's set in the 1980s, the towers are still intact and still downtown, and you can actually see the towers in the distance. And that particular scene, I think, is significant because the characters actually mention free energy, and you can actually see the towers in the distance. And there's a couple, like, not aircraft, but like hot air balloons going towards the tower. It just was an odd framing of that scene. So that was the Watchmen film. And then on from that, there was a sort of few other sort of lesser well-known productions. One of them was called The Reluctant Fundamentalist, which seemed to be about, I think I saw this, it was about some of the connections between supposedly Al-Qaeda and the 9/11 event. And again, it seemed to be continuing this theme of the official story was true, and we're in a different world. We're in a world where terror is part of everyday life. I mean, you'll maybe remember as well is that particular decade in the 2000s, it was all about, there was a hidden terror, and everything's terrorism, and it's not so much like that now, although there is still that kind of energy and vibe. But back then, that was kind of the way life was in the media. So the Reluctant Fundamentalist, that was another film that seemed to fit into that kind of theme. And then just a few more examples from that. You had this TV series Continuum, which I think was actually set in Vancouver. That TV series, that had an opening terrorist attack, a terrorist storyline. 2012 that was. He then had a 9/11 standalone sort of film in 2017, another Hollywood production about the sort of official story. And then more recently in 2019, you had the TV series The Looming Tower, which seemed to go into the connections, if we're going along with the official narrative. That TV series seemed to be about the sort of connections between certain people in the Middle East and New York, Washington, America, in the sort of months and few years before, 9/11. So the Looming Tower, I watched a bit of it. Again, it seemed to be a continuing of this post-programming that it seems to go on to this day. And then just one more mention, I've written this, there was a TV series called Homeland, which I think it was based in Washington. But again, the opening credits actually pulled from the 9/11 footage and the dust clouds. And again, it seemed to, that this at that time and less so today, but still somewhat, it seemed to re-emphasize this situation of terrorism and fear,
Yeah, and in it says, so featuring Jeff Daniels. So he's a Dumb and Dumber guy. And you mentioned Jeff Daniels, a key individual in your post-planning discussion.
Joe Daniels, that's someone else, yeah.
No, Jeff Daniels is the guy in Looming Tower. He cast.
Yeah, he's someone else, yeah.
But you referenced Jeff Daniels in your. Oh no, Joe Daniels. Sorry, I got that. I got it right.
Joe.
Oh yeah. So Joe, not Jeff. Okay, yeah. I got to make it just because Jeff Daniels was starring in that that Looming Tower, and he's the guy from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah,
you know the movie Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. This guy.
Yes.
No, that's interesting. Okay.
But, I'll maybe just briefly mention the Joe Daniels individual. I'll just maybe bring that in. Joe Daniels.
I got that was Jeff first. Quick second.
Yeah, but well, just elaborate on that individual just briefly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what is he from
yeah,
again? What's he from?
yeah. Because he was the 9/11 museum
Oh yeah,
CEO,
that's one. Yeah. Okay.
and he held that position for 10 years, and I think he then resigned in 2016. But the point I would make about the Joe Daniels guy is that he was obviously very high up in the development of the museum and the running of the museum. He was a lawyer beforehand. He had a degree from University of Pennsylvania. So he was someone who, he's a lawyer. You can maybe bring that up. He was a lawyer. He was brought in to kind of oversee the museum as a key figure. And up to this point, I don't think anybody's questioned him. I don't see him incriminated. I don't see any, questions pointed towards him as an individual. And yet he must he must in some way know and be briefed about the kind of cover up. So just a few points. He was brought in by Mayor Bloomberg in 2006. He was appointed CEO and permanent president, and there seemed to be this push to give an image of him as, a regular guy. There's a quote where he says he's known as Regular Joe, a likable guy. He says, that's been my name ever since I stopped being Joey in the 6th grade. So again, it was a manipulation of emotion and manipulation of people's impression of that guy, and that he's just a good guy. He's somebody that you can trust, and this museum's 100% genuine. But again, he's a spook. He's somebody who is completely unsincere. And then there's just another point about his work at the museum. He actually, when the victims' families were getting contacted by the museum, according to him, and I quote, he says, "We went out to all the next of kin of the 2,983 victims, that includes the 1993 victims as well of that bomb, when asked if they wanted their loved ones' names to be placed by another, we received more than 1,200 requests." So again, there was this sort of sub-agenda to make them on the side of the families, to make them appear like they were good people, good guys. And there was this strange outcome where some of the names of the loved ones were put next to people that they didn't know. So that was an odd development. So again, why was this guy not questioned? Why was he not, talked about more? And I'll just maybe make a last point about him. He apparently was instrumental in raising in excess of $400 million in a fund to put towards the museum. So that just seems a preposterous amount of money that he could have come up with, and the connections that he has. So clearly there's some other force and groupings that are funding and running the place.
No, definitely. Just there's a comment here, Rotary Matrix, asking, are you on X or YouTube, or do you have your own website, or do you have any other social media that he wants to interact with you?
Yeah. No, not at the moment. I did try to do a sort of a blog, like a sort of blog. It was maybe popular a few years ago, but I wasn't able to quite set it up. I'm not as computer savvy, but I might do that. But yeah, certainly coming onto the live stream, I was happy to do that.
Yeah.
So
well, and speaking about blogs, if you're interested, I always promote the Hive blockchain. You can create it without needing an email, no ID. It's always there. You never need to pay for it ever. You can literally come back in 100 years, it'll be there. So that's the thing. If you're interested, I can make you an account for you, and then I'll give you the private key or like password.
Okay.
And you can post.
Maybe.
And then you can post from any. The thing is, you could post without needing your ID, and you don't need to worry about algorithm shutting you down or whatnot, and you earn money as well. You're in crypto, but that's yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, I
like
can maybe email another time. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
Thanks.
No, yeah, but when I searched up Joe Daniels on Wikipedia, what shows up is Joseph Daniels, and he was so he died in 1948. He was a Secretary of the Navy under President Woodrow Wilson. So this is just an interesting name when things line up like that. So what are the odds that Joe Daniels is the 9/11 Memorial CEO and then has the same name as Woodrow Wilson, Secretary of the Navy? It's kind of like it's like a big name somehow, not just a random guy getting $400 million.
Yeah, that was just somebody I thought that was worth mentioning, but we can move on from that. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I just got a message here. Okay. Yeah, for sure. And then we have.
And then there's just a couple of there's a couple of points about there's the path sort of station called Oculus, with the train line.
Yeah.
The interchange, I think it's called Path.
That's actually surreal. That giant Oculus is a giant eye, and it opens up every 9/11 for 102 minutes. Apparently, that's
right. 10:28. Yeah,
and that's the duration after the first tower was hit, and then the what's it called? The fall of the second tower.
Yeah, so it's clearly again it's a significant kind of structure in the kind of post-programming. And young people in New York, they're going to look at that and be influenced. So it's clearly another significant piece of engineering and architecture.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and no, I know, and it's also it opens up. It's a giant eyeball. Like what in the planet are we on? I made a post about that. It's just surreal.
Yeah, and the skylights come out of it.
Oh, really?
Two skylights.
Oh, two skylights coming. Oh, I got it. Oh, yeah. You're right. Skylight opened on 9/11/2017. So it was open in March 3, 2016, and then you got skylights launching out on the 2017. It's like they always find new things to like. It's kind of like grifting. They're grifting on 9/11 with their and also post-predictive programming. It's like, and I know someone that went in there. And it's like, are you guys just blind? Like you're going to see like a memorial of like just human blindness.
Yeah, but again, it's a sort of occult kind of energy and design, and apparently part of the engineering of the wings or whatever you want to call it. One of the quotes is that it's the ribs of freedom, the ribs of freedom. So again, it's strange terminology, associated with it. So I think that's been another significant development. And then maybe just lastly on the museum, the overall cost, apparently since it was originated to today and into the future, over the sort of 40-50 year period from its initial beginnings, it's going to cost $5 billion. So whoever's put this money towards this, whether it's the New York Port Authority or Freemasonry or whatever group or groupings have done this, this has been a very, very deliberate act. And how they can keep coming up with such vast amounts of money, and it's not clear where that money is coming from. Again, this is part of the story and the cover-up.
Yeah, and this is that Oculus building. I just want to see the Oculus. So it costed billions. Let's see the cost billion. Yeah, so official proposed a $7 billion redesign of Lower Manhattan. See where the cost goes. It was $2 billion design. You said it went up to $5 billion. Apparently, it was designed. Like
if you take it over a 50 years of maintenance as well and running it over a 50-year plan, it's apparently something like $5 billion over 50 years. So this is a huge amount of money for not that large an area.
Yeah, and definitely another question is who's paying it? Would it be is this government funded? The high cost for single
I
station
think,
attributed exact which stands
yeah.
for needing to convince go. Okay, yeah. No, so the government
think
is
it's
paying. Yeah, it's apparently government of New Jersey is to pay for a project situated entirely in New York. It looks like it's reconstruction was to be funded by the Federal Transit Administration, which gave approximately 1.9 billion. The cost, however, still expensive, but it was to be finished. Yeah, so almost most of the money is just taxpayer money, and so on.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a mixture of things as well. There's been other sources as well, but you know.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing is what's it called? Again, even though it's a lot of billions of dollars, well now for the U.S. military, for example, the new proposal for next year's budget is 1.5 trillion. So it's like
Yeah.
and again, it's what they do is they print money, they spend it, and then everybody's that's part of the system, their life savings goes down. So then they gotta basically invest and gamble in stock market and all that stuff. So that's how you pay for things, basically by inflation.
Yeah.
So that's the way the world works. No. Yeah.
The kind of outline that I had at the start. So we've gone through a lot of it, but I could maybe just add there's a sort of few points about whoever the group was and the psychology. I'll maybe talk about that.
Yeah. So the psychology of the group and 11 design images of towers, initial idea. So do you know that architect? Have you heard his story? Let's say architect piece. So the architect, he dedicated Twin Towers to world peace. And interesting that this article from 5 days says that this is
an ironic,
so the architect Minoru Yamasaki, he's like a Japanese guy, he designed it to represent a monument to world peace. And then 5 days after 9/11, the article that was discussing that said that his dream crumbled into dust. Yeah, and it literally says crumbled into dust. The actual article, which is so again what it is that's the designer doing that. So what are your again about the psychology, initial idea, and plan, build up?
I had heard of I was aware of the architect, and I think he had a fear of heights as well. But I think there was I don't think he was acted alone. I think there was much more design.
No, definitely. Because remember,
much more.
These architects and so on, like a lot of these guys, even the CEO of that memorial, it's like some of these are like hired guns. It's kind of like, here's design,
and just to add, at the current Ground Zero site, I think there's been finalized plans for a new building. It's going to be called World Trade Center number 2, I think, and that's being designed by the Foster and Partners architect firm. And I think I maybe sent you this. That particular building, which I think is maybe at the east sort of side of the Ground Zero site. It's more easternly side, northeast side, I think. That building, if you look at that design, I think the plans were released this year. It's got a strange resemblance in some way to the original towers, and even you could maybe say in the design it's got kind of intermittent gaps or cuts into the building. It's very odd, and it almost looks like the building's kind of got a fire coming out of it. I don't know, but I just thought the building.
Right. I had no idea about this.
Design.
I had no idea this was even out. Okay, maybe I emailed. I didn't have a chance to check, but I'm opening it right now. This is actually astonishing. This is coming out, and it's like this year. It will announce it with the.
I just thought it was,
so American Express, design. It is, and you can see, you are right. It looks like it's like in flames. It has the trees coming out there. Again, they had your.
So again.
Yeah, attention to.
Again, is that some?
Is
that some sort of kind of imagery, post-programming to remind somebody of the official story? I don't know, but it's just a very strange design, I thought.
Yeah, I know, subconsciously, definitely. I'm gonna just archive this. All right.
Okay.
No, that's that is I had no idea about that. I just archived this on the blockchain. Yeah, so there's an app. Basically, it's a browser extension. I just click it and then I type my username, and it automatically posts a Wikipedia article on the blockchain. Because
Yeah. But
I
you
do
know,
a lot of
so
stuff.
that was that.
That is
Yeah,
amazing.
that was the
Yeah, that's that part.
um,
Build up an execution. But because I think you said before, do you think the plan was like it was designing it? It was 9/11 was planned like way ahead. No, definitely. The other thing I want to mention.
seemed to be.
I think I was to mention. I'm not sure if you know. This kind of part it gets like a bit next level where everything's 9/11. So like there's a book from 1980. The guy was basically using astronomy based on the description of the Bible of where the stars were to pinpoint the date of Jesus' birth. So he picked basically September 11th, 3 BC as the actual birthday.
Right.
Yeah, so the current thing is that they just pick Christmas, but they know it's not actually Christmas, and then they started at the 1 AD, and then that puts Jesus' death at like 33 years old, which is quite interesting. But anyway, so
Right.
yeah, so the guy made it in 1980 book, and then he made Jesus' birthday on September 11th. Jesus 9/11. So
Yeah, strange. Yeah.
so this kind of gets there like what in the world are we doing? And there's a book. So the book is a 1980 book. It was called The Birth of Christ Recalculated, second edition by Ernest L. Martin. Yes, I'm not sure if you know about that. And also, and
No, I don't. I'll check it out. Yeah.
yeah, and it ties in with the it's like the biblical like they call it the Feast of Trumpets. It's like essentially like almost like the New Year or something like that. I gotta look at the exact details of that. But yeah, so that's September 11th is not just a it's like it's symbolic meaning like across millennia.
There was just one more post-program example that is maybe worth mentioning. The film you've probably seen, maybe not, the film Minority Report, which was a sort of futuristic film. In that film, one of the characters that's accused of a murder, I think the main character, the case number by the police department and law enforcement department is 1109.
Oh,
So again, it's 9/11. It's 9/11, and I think also there's a scene where there's a door, one of the flat apartment doors. The number's 1006, which again you can read as 91. So that film.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And this is from 2002. Okay, it's 2002. And good thing you read the 1109. So have you seen that music video that somebody someone made an album on 9/11 and then he sent it to me, and then I made a music video out of it, and it was called 1109. His music album.
Vaguely, yeah. I did see. I saw it on, I think, the website Bandcamp.
Yeah, Bandcamp. Yeah. So he said that. But I made a full playlist with like I added my like 9/11 videos and Hudson Effect and so on. And so the 1109. He called it 1109 because do you remember that giant plane? Oh, this is that plane in Afghanistan when they were leaving and everyone was like chasing after it. Do you remember that or no? The Afghanistan.
Vaguely.
Yeah, so this was on the news, I think, during Biden's administration. And then basically, let's see, I'll see the image. You should be able to see it. And on the plane, it was U.S. Air Force. So when they go in there, and apparently they're taking people with them or something. The plane, it said 1109 on it. And that's why he calls it after. And you can see the video on the live stream. I mean, just an image. And that's the thumbnail of the guy's album, 1109. Yeah, so it's just the use of the 1109 for, again, another weird psyop. It kind of looks AI generated. I don't know what is happening. There's people running next to a giant plane, and people apparently were holding on. I'm not sure if you heard about that. They were holding on and they flew in the air, and you could see them falling. I have no idea if that's real or not, but it's just bizarre. But yeah.
So yeah, just to sort of summarize the films and so on, is that there seems to be some sort of film industry in Hollywood scenario whereby, sort of wealthy people and directors are getting influenced, or there's key individuals in their teams or in the background that are knowingly putting this stuff in, because not all of it could be coincidental or by chance. So again, you could cite there was that other film, United 93, I think 2006. That was by a British director, I think, Paul Greengrass. That was focusing on the United 93 flight. Again, just pure sort of post-programming and propaganda. But just to sort of summarize, it does seem that the film industry does know something, and there is certain people in there. But again, it's so difficult to find out who these individuals are. And
no, I agree. And this is where, again, it's like the Freemasonry and so on. It's like secret societies. Like everybody knows secret societies exist, but also everybody knows that governments have classified information, and they have and they spend, again, 1.5 trillion just on the military. That's public, so everybody knows they spend billions and trillions, and they have classified departments. And they know that, well, Freemasons, it's just the most popular secret society, that they're secret, and they have blood oaths, like that they'll literally say that they'll get killed if they don't follow along with whatever oath that they're taking. And a lot of big names are there, like Richard Gage is almost certainly a Freemason. Like you know about his email, what his email is? Do you know that or no?
No.
His email is rgage33@gmail.com.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I was shocked, and I found out a couple of years ago. I'm like, what in the world? So, that's kind of what I mean. It's like it's like literally in your face. Freemason. Even the AE 911 Truth, the logo is a Freemasonic logo, but again, it's a whole bunch of stuff there. But this is. So
maybe just come to the last few points then. One of them is just maybe a few comments about where we are today regarding 9/11, because it's the 25th year since the event, and how much more are we further forward? I think we are a lot further forward, but there's also a kind of like a paralysis as well, in that it kind of like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. And I know that in the 2000s, I think it was Jerry Leithart, he was involved in the criminal case.
Yeah, the key time cases. Yeah.
So I know that we've got that historical evidence, that historical record, and that's still very important. But will we see the likes of that again, or will we see a future court hearing or court case? I mean, you never know. In the future, in 50 years' time, there might be. But I think one of the problems is that, unfortunately, I don't know what it's like in Canada, but in the UK, most people don't. They don't bother to research, they don't bother to listen or read, they don't sort of bother to look into the subject. So there's that. But most people, if you went to an airport, they go abroad, they don't care, that they're just doing their lives. And I think this is a big problem today, is that 25 years on, most people have moved on from it, and it's very difficult to get the population on board. So the sort of work that you've done on 9/11 and the live streams, obviously that's been great. I think it's been innovative, and it's awakened a lot more people. But unfortunately, the mainstream and other sources have still got a stranglehold on so many people and so many people's minds. But I do think that going forward in the future, I do think that, where did the towers go? You've got a hardback copy of that.
Yeah.
You've got Andrew Johnson's Finding the Truth. You've got the one book on what happened, one book on the cover-up. And you know, those two books are crucial for the future. You know, so I do think there is still, you know, a lot of relevance about talking about 9/11 and, you know, buying books and listening to talks, talking to other people, you know, doing a website, doing a live stream. But I think what's been one of the big problems all along is that it hasn't been, you know, in the public domain. It's been on the sort of fringes. It's been kind of chastised. It's been shut out from sort of everyday life, everyday discussions. So that I think that's the thing. You know, just make this point. I think it's a huge point to make, is that other than the actual event and then this long sort of developing cover-up, one of the big, or what I think is the biggest thing about 9/11 is that it isn't really spoken about. But when it is spoken about, you know, the avenues that you can talk about it are shut down. You know, we saw that with Facebook. I think Facebook was instrumental when it first began. That kind of time, 2005, people were questioning the event online. And if you questioned that on Facebook, your account would have been very quickly deleted, or you would have been given a warning. So again, there's question marks over Facebook, and was that part of this kind of cover-up? I think you can probably say that.
Mark Collins' account was actually removed like a few weeks ago because he was talking about the planes.
Right.
The alleged
Yeah,
planes.
I could believe it. Yeah.
So his account was removed literally a few weeks ago on Facebook.
So, you know, where we stand in 2026, 25 years later, I think it's a mixed picture. I think there's been great success from, you know, Dr. Wood and
No, I was saying you were frozen for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good now.
But I think there's a lot of positives, and you know, you should all be applauded for the work that you've done. But I think where it's sort of, you have to be realistic as well, is that I think all you sort of can do is, you know, you buy Where Did the Towers Go? You buy Finding the Truth. You send them to a local library. You send them to a library in America, for example. You attend talks. You watch videos, and I think you have to just keep doing that, whilst also, you know, having your life as well. You know, you can't let this overtake and overcome your entire sort of life, because it is now sort of 25 years ago.
No, agree. Again, like Gary Jackson, I just want to make a shout out to him. He's the one who's given books out to like a lot of the local schools and libraries, and he's standing up there. There's another video I uploaded. He actually was out there for like 3 minutes talking to them, and it's very great
so
stuff.
that's
a lot of activism.
that's great. Yeah.
It is, and again, with me, I personally think the only thing that will wake up people, because well, the thing is, a lot of people are awakened. Like they will not voice it because it will affect their daily job and name and so on. So the only thing I think is literally free energy device, anti-gravity. So it's like that's why I'm focusing a lot on the Hutchison effect and so on, because that changes the game. Where it's like, well, you have a device that can levitate, and then the person who's doing it is telling you, well, 9/11 got me to here, because, and then it's like, well, people don't care after that. Once you open that up, everything changes. So that's
that's great. That I would just also add that I had maybe said before to you that I've sort of corresponded with Andrew Johnson from time to time, and I had praised his work and Finding the Truth in particular, and I had sort of asked him and suggested to him, you know, would Finding the Truth be reissued in maybe a hardback format, or you know, reintroduced you know, in more recent years. And he basically said, you know, there's a lot of difficulties with getting a publisher on board, and this is true, but you know, it might happen one day. I've emailed some publishers in America, so that's maybe one to remember and take note of. So I've not sort of given up on that idea. You know, perhaps it could happen. So I do think having that kind of having the evidence in a hardback format 20, 30, 50 years into the future, that's a very, very important and valid, piece of evidence. So, perhaps it will happen. I don't know, but
No,
but
that'd be good. Like me, because I'm like digital, like with the blockchain, it's it won't be deleted from the internet. That's the one thing I focus on.
Yeah.
Because and then the AI, like for example, if you're using AI, it will know this was posted on today's date or on 10 years ago, whatever you posted it. Forever it will know, and it knows that you posted it, so there's no one can edit it, no one can change it, and if someone does, well, you know that who was original, and it will be there forever. And so in other words, you can ask AI, what did Andrew Johnson say XYZ, and it will tell you exactly. So
yeah, so it's like evidence. Yeah.
no, that's what I mean. So blockchain is it's kind of like making a digital book that is there forever. But yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, but definitely if you can get books out and throw them around, which is very valuable. And again, Dr. Judy Wood has actually told me a lot of the background info about getting her book published, and it was not an easy process. It was not easy at all.
Yeah, no, I could imagine, but
and it was, and there was spooks, and there was spooks involved too. Is trying to get get a lot of the info out, a lot of the hurricane stuff out, a lot of the magnetometer and Hutchison stuff. So that's weird. They wanted to separate the energy stuff from 9/11. So that's the
but the actual finished product of the book is second to none. It's a superb finish. So
it's a heavy book. Well. Yeah, I know, but it's like a book you drop it in someone's hand and be like, okay, this is, you got to read it. There's nothing you can do. No, it's amazing.
And I would just maybe add one more sort of point on where things are today, what can be done. One thing that I've sort of picked up on is that particularly last year at the anniversary of September 11th, that kind of time period leading up to the anniversary, in more sort of recent years, it seems to be that you maybe get 1 or 2 days beforehand and 1 or 2 days after, and that's it. The news doesn't cover it. You don't get local news talking much about it. Whereas if you go back to sort of the 10th anniversary, that kind of time, for example, you had sort of a couple of weeks of media coverage and intensity, whereas now it's very much sort of faded, or it's being deliberately not discussed. It really isn't getting much attention other than the day itself on the anniversary.
Yeah, but I think that's a good sign that we are making headways. It's very hard for it's very hard for a normie, a guy, to go on the internet and say 9/11 was done by Osama. It's just very hard. Just most people on the internet know it's just not. And and that's why again they had the Charlie Kirk set up there. Okay, oh, you're gonna show your face? Okay, we'll show your face. Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
I'll show mine.
Maybe just.
I'll open it here.
Just towards the end.
Yeah.
Just towards the end, team.
Yeah.
I'll just show this book. I've got this book.
WTC. Yeah, that's a great book. It looks.
I bought that. It was maybe about £50, maybe $70, $80 or something. This book, it's got color. It's quite it's quite interesting. However, the one thing you take away from looking at this in a book is just the scale of the buildings, the scale and the materials. You get a really good kind of feel for that. So if someone was to buy this book or borrow it from a library, it's maybe worth looking at.
No, yeah, that is. No, how many pages is that book? Is that the one with a bunch of images? I do need to get.
It's also got the Oculus and.
Oh, this is a new one. This is a new book.
This is that's it there.
No, that's
WTC author Brian Rose or photographer Brian Rose. I think it's about maybe 60 pages or 60, 70 pages, but I just bought that just because I wanted to get a sort of high definition book with the imagery.
Yeah.
And it comes in a kind of long form format.
Yeah,
Um,
there was actually a book.
yeah, yeah.
There's a book in the early 2000s that had it like that, but for all the 9/11 stuff. It's like they had a lot of those. It was like a Judy Wood book, but without the talking about the town of certain dust. But it just shows you everything. It's like Matthew Nas has that book. I want to buy it. But I'm also showing on the screen the Matthew Nas. He put 9/11 Finding the Truth and Where the Towers Go in the center, and then all the other books that he used to promote. Can you see that?
Right.
Yeah, let's see if it's on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually gotten. I don't know if you can see in the background. I've actually just. It's probably too dark, but I've got
it's hard
Judy
to,
Wood's book, Andrew Johnson's book. I've also got the Chat GDP.
Oh, nice.
Morgan Reynolds.
Yeah, Project Headfake. Yeah, I have that book. Yeah, Project Headfake. I have that as well. That was great.
This was the it's the spinal format.
Oh, I got the hard copy. I
Yeah.
got the hard thing. That's cool.
I get sort of larger format, but again, you get a lot of clear imagery in the larger format, so
Yeah.
it's quite good for the detail and the.
Yeah, he references me in that book because I made that video of the compilation of the towers, like the electromagnetic glitching. It's one of the chapters. Let's see if I have it here.
Yeah.
Maybe you could search it up. I'll go bring the book. I know it's somewhere there. I think I may even have it. See what page.
The reason the reason I bought this was because it was running at about £100, $130, but then it was reduced to £30, so maybe like $50. So I bought that.
Okay.
I kind of quickly bought that, and I think just the larger format can make it easier to digest and understand.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so he actually sent it to me for free, so I got it. I was part of one of the email setups there. So he actually references me in one of the chapters, like. It's the one with the tower glitching, like the electromagnetic interference. If you,
yeah,
I just want to see because I'm sharing like your giant screen. Do you think you could scroll through and find just me in there? Just that chapter. Go to the chapter in the book. Like, do you have it in your book? Just show it in your physical book, and then show the chapter, show the page.
Yeah. What?
It's one of the chapters. I have to go and open it on my thing. I'll be back 1 sec. Yeah, I'll be back 1 sec. Okay, let's see if you can find it. Let's see who can find it first. Yeah, so I have this book. No, I have that book. I'm just saying, go to the chapter and you'll see my. It talks about me. One of the ones on electromagnetic interference. I think it references me in there. Which one is it? Chapter electromagnetic. Oh, which one was it? Because I had to scroll through before, or we have a few more seconds before we find it. Then I do know because some of them are my glitching. Where's the thingy? Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyways, I'll have to find it later. I do want to see that it was the part I made a compilation of the glitching there. Where's the chapters? But anyways, we can go ahead and. Why is there no chapters? Scenario. Is there not a list of chapters?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Oh, at the beginning. Okay, why so real difficulties? Yeah. Directed energy evidence. So 13 might be. It might be it. It might be 13.
13.
Chapter 13. What page is that?
Number 3. Chapter 3.
Oh yeah. Okay. Chapter. Yeah. Was it the scenario? Directed energy evidence 13. Well, I think it might have been that. Okay. 13 might be 13.
This one.
Okay. No. Yeah. So it wasn't this one. It was the one where yeah, what page is this? I gotta find it eventually. Wikipedia consequences. It was a bunch of electromagnetic interference, like the thing, the form steel, Star Wars. Oh, static and okay, 131. Go page 131.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there it is. You can see my name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can see that. It says, yeah, video credit, Matthew stuff, electromagnetic interference on 9/11.
Yeah,
I spent a
I've
lot of
seen
time
that.
making that video, yeah. Have you seen that? Have you seen that
Right.
or no?
No, I've not. I've only glanced at the book.
No, okay.
I was waiting for the larger format. I've
Well, no,
got a
but have you,
hardback.
but have you seen that
copy.
video I made? Have you seen that video I posted?
No.
It's one of the most important videos, I think, 9/11. It's literally an hour and a half of just footage and anomalies. And like you'll see
Yeah,
mystery
yeah.
planes, you'll see glitching, you'll see people. You'll also see in there, on 9/11, you had some guy there blaming Iran for 9/11. Yeah, so that's the one. Yeah. Oh, you could show the big. Yeah, show that big screen there. Yeah. No, that's good.
Worth checking out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half, but it's mandatory. I spent so many hours compiling all the evidence. Like it's just footage, 9/11 footage. It's like you're back in time, and you see that again.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so anyways,
I'll check it out. Yeah.
yeah. So anyways,
Okay.
anything else you want to go? Because we're been at 3 hours. We have a 3 hour
That's,
stream.
yeah, that's good. That's probably, yeah, that's been great. I don't know if you're going to continue on, but I'll maybe exit. But yeah, that
Yeah,
was
no,
great.
I'm exiting. I'm just gonna exit there, and then we could just have a brief offline chit chat, and then we'll just say bye. Yeah, so I'm just gonna. Anything else you want to say to the audience? That was a
That's
great
great.
to have you. All right, I'm gonna just
And
update
yeah,
the.
thanks for the time and the invite. Yeah, thanks for the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say thanks for watching and have a great weekend. Okay, I'm gonna end it. I'll end the stream, and then we could just say, but I'm gonna end the stream, guys. And have a good one, guys. Thanks for joining, and end stream, and then.